If it's Saturday night, it's time to wrestle in the swamp. Welcome to the third annual Gator Classic. I'm Ellis Thomas, joined by Chris Smith and Johnny Rapp here in the Slingshot TV booth. And tonight we are bringing you live racing action from the legendary USA International Speedway, where the lights are bright, the air is going to be thick, and once you dive into the jaws of this short track, there's no backing out. Tucked away just south of Lakeland, USA International Speedway is a track that never tried to be flashy, but it's always demanded drivers' respect. Built back in the mid-1960s as Florida International Speedway and then later renamed, this high-banked three-quarter-mile oval was carved out of the flat Florida landscape with one purpose in mind: close, hard-nosed racing where momentum matters. Lakeland itself has always kind of lived at a crossroads. Long before theme parks defined Central Florida, this was railroad country, citrus groves, phosphate mining, and cattle land stretching in every direction. That blue-collar backbone shows up at this racetrack. USA International isn't about glamour. It's about showing up, doing the work, and surviving the night. Over the decades, USA has quietly earned a reputation as one of the most technical short tracks in the Southeast. The banking invites speed, but the narrow racing groove keeps drivers honest. Over the years, USA has welcomed a surprisingly deep lineup of racing history. The track was a regular stop for the ARCA series, where young drivers would cut their teeth in tightly packed short track battles before reaching the national spotlight. It also hosted events for the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series, cementing its place as a proving ground for grassroots stock car talent across the Southeast. Behind the wheel, future stars like Mark Martin and Bobby Allison turned laps here during eras when short tracks were essentially classrooms for racecraft. Chris, Lakeland has always been a town built on timing: railroads, harvests, industry, and tonight, timing is going to matter just as much as it did back then. With tight quarters, tire fall off, and a track that rewards rhythm more than aggression, what's going to be the biggest challenge for these drivers coming into tonight?
Well, they're going to have to check their emotions at the door tonight. It's a big opportunity. Slingshot Racing League's premier short track race means these drivers are going to be doing all they can to collect the coveted Gator Head Trophy at the conclusion. We've got 200 laps here around USA tonight with a very special format that we'll talk a little bit about here later on. The full fuel cell is available to these drivers, and 4 sets of tires, 3 in the pits, 1 on their car at the start of the race, and 0 fast repairs. And Ellis, only 1 driver walks out of here with the checkered flag. Who's it going to be? We're going to find out next.
Well, that Gatorhead Trophy and who's going to take it home is going to be one of the many stories we're going to follow, along with looking at what this race is all about and what's going to take to win tonight. But as you know, if you've tuned in to Slingshot TV before, it's time for our favorite pre-race tradition here at Slingshot TV. Folks, rise and remove those caps if able for the playing of the national anthem. We'll be right back. Back here in the Slingshot TV studio, folks, it is going to be a wild night here at the third annual Gator Classic being hosted by Slingshot Racing League. Before we go any further, before we talk about those stories that we're going to be following over the course of this long evening, at least for drivers, we got to talk about what the race format is, because not every driver is guaranteed a starting spot. You can see that race format on the screen right now. Chris, walk us through, if you're not used to watching a traditional Saturday night short track event, as I'm sure many fans at home are maybe not accustomed to with what they typically watch on Slingshot TV. What is a heat? What is an LCQ? And more importantly, I guess, what's a feature?
Well, drivers are on the track right now doing a typical lone qualifying lap right now, and that will set the lineups for the heats. The inside, the odd number positions will battle it out in heat 1, and the even positions will battle it out in heat 2. And they will each race for 18 laps or 22 minutes, whichever one comes first. And in that race, 12 drivers will advance. Now, 34 have shown up here tonight, Ellis. So that means there's going to be 17 in each one of them. So we're going to have our eyes on that battle for the 12th position, because it is going to be a very, very important position. 12 advance out of Heat 1, 12 advance out of Heat 2, and then everybody else who has not advanced into the feature race, the 200-lap feature race, will take part in a 12-lap or 15-minute, whichever one comes first, LCQ, last chance qualifier, and that one is just a single person advancing out of that. Whoever wins the LCQ will get the final spot, the 25th spot in the Gator Classic tonight.
And then they got those 200 laps. That's going to be the main event. That is where it's all on the line. The money, the Gatorhead trophy, and drivers going to have a lot to manage on the track tonight. Let's go ahead and look at the sort of things that we're going to be looking for from these drivers out on the track. And the first thing you mentioned, Chris, getting into the show ain't easy. You don't have a guaranteed spot. Does that change how these drivers are going to race over the course of these first heats?
Yeah, it definitely does, especially around, like I said before, that 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th position in these heats. So it's going to be hotly contested positions right here that we're going to have our eyes on throughout the entire race. So, it's going to be very, very difficult, and getting into the main show is not going to be easy.
And to do that, some drivers are likely going to have to make contact. Expect contact early and often tonight. You and I have raced these late model stocks, and they are hair-raising, to say the least. And the blood pressure might go up as well for a lot of these drivers with how close quarters we're going to see these cars beating and banging tonight.
Yeah, definitely, and it's going to be very, very close action with just 500 horsepower in these cars, and these drivers feel a lot of confidence driving them right there, and that leads into this third story, Ellis. You have to keep your cool out here on the racetrack, because you know there's going to be some contact, and you also can't be afraid to hit back, especially when everything is on the line trying to get into the race in the first place.
And lastly, lap traffic. Once we do get to that main event where all the marbles are on the line, lap traffic is going to play a role with only 3/4 of a mile for this racetrack. The leader's going to come up on lap traffic early. How difficult is it to thread the needle sometimes between those lap cars?
It's very, very difficult, and sometimes you just can't wait around. You have to go. You have to, try to make up as much ground as you possibly can. So, yeah, you can't wait for lap traffic at certain points of the race. And, Ellis, I think it's time to grid up.
Let's go trackside here to USA International Speedway, where the drivers who are in the first heat have begun to line up. You can see it there. Kenneth Gallman is going to be starting third. Fourth is going to be Ronald Hall. First is going to be Jaden Hopp along with Benjamin Gerhardt. Those are your front row cars. Fifth is going to be Landon Brown. Sixth, Christopher French beside him. Ty Leclerc starting on the inside of row number 4. He's coming from 7th tonight. To his outside is going to be Haley Moody in that number 50 car. 9th is going to be Cliff Adams in the 80 car. Love that number. And then 10th is going to be Nate Friesen in the 18th.
And that's going to round out the top 10. And these next positions that you're going to see right here, this is going to be some of those positions that we're going to have our eyes on here in these heats, around that 11th, 12th, 13th position. Rolling off 11th will be Zachary Mitchell, somebody we've seen here in SRL competition on the channel. And on his outside, Joshua Torch in the number 19. Rolling off from the 13th position, number 13, Benjamin Colts. And on his outside, we've got Stephen Farrell in the number 129 car. And we're going to move on right here to row number 8. This is a name we've seen on Slingshot TV. That's Brandon Willard rolling off in the 15th position. And Aaron Whittam is going to roll off in the 16th position, And starting shotgun in this heat right here will be Jacob Phillips, looking to get up to that 12th position.
Comments already coming in on the chat. Connor Lyons in here. Thanks for the sub. Ethan Brooks. Tominator 151515 says good night for short track racing. Could not agree more, folks. Keep those comments coming. Let's have a lively chat. We're going to be doing a giveaway later on tonight during the feature. You'll find out more about that later. But right now, I believe they are down the backstretch. I think we're probably going to have 2 pace laps here, as this is an exceptionally short track, just 3/4 of a mile. Drivers working their way around. Last time around here, 17 cars. Pretty big field for the first heat. Chris, any last minute pieces of advice from atop the pit box for those drivers if you're the crew chief?
Be ready for some early action right here. Be ready for an early caution. These cars, they're fairly easy to drive with the, less horsepower, but this is a custom setup, and the cars do slide slightly. I think it'll make things very entertaining for tonight. I'll be looking for an early self-spin maybe for one of these drivers on cold tires right here. So, yeah, if I'm on top of the pit box right here, I'm going to tell my driver to look out for that right here on this opening lap.
We're going to be looking out for that, along several more stories that we're going to be following. Right now, we're getting ready to get this action underway from Lakeland, Florida. Here at USA International, we're about to take the first green flag of the night for the Gator Classic. It's the 81 of Hop and alongside the 100 of Gerhardt. They head down into turn 1 side by side. The field is 2x2, at least 15 rows back. Here's Gerhardt, Jaden Hop side by side. The 81 Hop on the inside, Gerhardt on the outside as they head down into turn 3.
As they are down in turn 3 right here, you got one car way up the hill. That's number 17 of Ronald Hall. He's coming back down. Contact with the 33. Big crash.
The 17, also Ronald Hall. One car over on its roof down the front stretch. The first caution flag tonight flies here in the Gator Classic. We're under yellow on lap at number 2 from Florida. Let's see if we can see what happened.
Ellis, several cars up in the air right here. The contact is going to start, the crash is going to start around the number 17 car of Ronald Hall. He's going to get really high down in turns 3 and 4. Pretty out of the groove right here, getting some marbles on those tires. And when he comes off the corner right here, you're going to see how far off the wall he comes. That car is sliding right there. He's going to hook the number 33 car. That is Ty Leclerc. Turns Ty head on into the wall right there. The number 81 machine right there is involved. That's Jaden Hop, and Jaden goes for a wild ride down the front stretch right here. I also saw the number 18 machine of Nate Friesen. That car also, I think that was actually the 18 that went for the wild ride. It was right there, and you can see him. He is up and over. And, yeah, that was one heck of a ride right there. It's the number 18. The number had me a little bit fooled right there, short track style. And, yeah, it turned over right there on the front stretch. A heck of a ride. But for all these drivers, Ellis, that are involved right here, you see the number 23 machine also involved. For all the drivers that are involved, their night is not over. Because if they cannot advance through right here, as man, we are going for one heck of a ride right here. That
goodness.
Is with the number 18 of Nate
That is
Friesen.
not the view you want.
It is not at all right there. That's Zachary Mitchell, who's underneath him right there in that 23. The night's not over with yet. If you can get this damage fixed, you might be able to do, something to possibly advance through the heat. And if you can't do that, you still have the last chance qualifier tonight.
Folks, we got the chats coming in fast and furious in here. Tominator, we also heard from Adam Holston, rooting on Brandon Willard. Randy Gross, welcome back, Randy, rooting on all these drivers. He's going to be in heat too, so mainly rooting on himself. We'll look forward to seeing Randy, a channel regular out there on the track. Captain Howdy GT and Holly Mintikoff. Holly rooting for the number 13 and 19 tonight. I know that's Joshua Tosh as well as Ben Coltis. And timing was showing a couple of cars out in front of the field. I believe that issue is resolving itself. Benjamin Gerhardt is being scored as the leader right now. So Holly, a couple of one of those cars got caught up in some of the action or the extracurriculars here just a lap or so ago. Driver's going to be lining up for the 1 to go. The lights are off on the pace car. We're going to give this another go. And just to remind viewers, you've noticed it. The ticker hasn't changed. We're still on lap number 3 because the caution laps don't count here in this first heat of the night. Getting to 18 laps and or 22 minutes, whatever elapses first. We got about 18 minutes left on the clock in this race. So Hopefully we'll get to the full lap count, but the maximum time is going to be 20 minutes. These drivers are going to be working every ounce of that 500 horses that they have behind these hoods tonight to see if they can't get to those 18 laps and do it up front. Right now, it's going to be Hop and Gerhardt. Gerhardt on the inside, Hop on the inside. Here we go. We're back underway at Lakeland. One car tagged. The 71 of Kenneth Gallman got into the back. I believe that was Landon Brown. Potentially, I should say that was actually Chris French maybe who got tagged there, but they all hang on to it, but it puts them 3 wide, headed down into the corner. Everyone's got to be careful. Lifting that throttle, showing a little bit of discretion right now early.
Yeah, that was Benjamin Gerhardt that got sent down to the inside off of the front bumper of Kenneth Gallman. Gerhardt was doing everything he could on that start right there to squeeze into that inside line because these drivers recognize the importance of getting down right there, right next to that yellow line in these corners. You want to be on the inside here, not much grip on the outside lane.
Not much grip on the outside lane at all. The inside is the place to be, but it's a no easy feat for these drivers. Every one of the top 10 really has lined it up. Single file, one car a little bit further back. That's the 15 in trouble early. I believe that was the 15 who struggled a little bit out of the corner. Sis has it gathered back up, but Chris, this is happening right around the bubble, right at 11th place. Jacob Phillips, you're watching that battle right there, that first white car in the picture. That is the next to last transfer spot. Remember, 12 cars transfer on to the feature tonight. Jacob Phillips and Stephen Farrell, they're the leaders, but the action is intensifying behind them. Ben Colts drops underneath 27 of Zachary Mitchell. See if he can't pick up a spot and get into the next transfer position.
Yeah, Zachary Mitchell's car is very wounded, and he is fighting that thing for everything he's got on the outside right there because he knows he's just one position out of transferring in. One of these cars has trouble in front of him. He's going to put himself... Oh, he's sideways right here. He's in big trouble.
Caution is out on the speedway for Zachary Mitchell. You mentioned it, Chris, doing everything he could to hold on to that, really watching his race slip away. 10 laps he saw left in that heat, and under the visor, you could feel the sweat beading off of his forehead. Let's see what happened here on the instant replay.
Yeah, this thing is very, very wounded right here, and he's fighting real hard. I saw it get, you see it right there. He got sideways right there off of turn 2. And he's got the number 13 machine underneath him. That's Ben Coulson. Yeah, he just gets sideways, charges in deep. You know, when your car's wounded like that, you feel like you kind of got to carry it yourself, put it on your shoulders, and, you know, just maybe exceeding the amount of grip that he has in that number 23 machine right now. So, this is going to tighten everything back up again right here on this restart, Ellis, and we're going to have our eyes set back on that transfer spot once more.
Yeah, if you thought it was dying down, you were sorely mistaken. Adam Holston in the chat saying it's hard to fight with damage, and that's what Zachary Mitchell was trying to do there. A handful of cars got damage in that first incident of the evening on lap number 2. And, yeah, Johnny, you might have seen a little bit of extracurriculars going on out there for a second.
Well, it looked like to me that was Aaron Whittam who was behind the crash right there, and he did everything he could right there to squeak by on the inside. Did a heck of a job right there to avoid any type of heat-ending damage to his number 16 machine.
And you see Whittam kind of trying to work his way up. Already gained 2 spots out of that transfer. Folks, let us know in the chat, who are you rooting for? Who are you rooting for to win this race? Who's your pick to win this heat? Whether you know them or you're just looking at the speeds and the positions, type the number in the chat or the name of the driver. Who you think's got the best shot to win this race, or who are you rooting for? Let's see those comments in the chat, folks. Keep the comments going all night. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. People often ask, how can we support Slingshot TV? Best and easiest way to do it, hit that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button. Neither one of those cost you a single dime, and it's going to help get your favorite drivers out in front of more eyeballs. We're going to be doing a John Hunter Nemechek t-shirt giveaway later to one lucky chatter during the main feature here in just a little bit, so make sure you're sticking around. And Chris, if you were looking for cars to come down pit road for any sort of fuel or pit stops, I don't think we're going to see that in these short little heats.
Yeah, I think the only way you'll come down to pit road is to get some damage fixed if you were wounded in that big crash that we saw earlier. And we have seen a few drivers elect to do that to get some of that fixed. I'm looking out here on track. About the top 7 positions look fairly clean. I'm looking back here at, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that is Brandon Willard in the number 43. Brandon's got a lot of damage on that 43, but he's running really well. He's running in the 8th spot. Got some significant right front damage. So, yeah, kudos to Brandon right there for persevering right there and keeping that thing in the top 10.
Lots of fans rooting on their favorite drivers. We got some 71 fans in here. Kenneth Gallman's got some fan club showing up tonight. Hop in the 81. Also Stained Pink rooting for Hop in that number 81 machine. Jaden Hop, and they don't have to look far to find him. Jaden on the inside there. He's going to be the control car on the restart. We're back underway here from Central Florida in the 3rd annual Gator Classic Heat. Number 1, first and second off, no problem. The battle's on for 3rd. That's Landon Brown and Benjamin Gerhardt. First and third, I should say, yeah, first and third, sorry, 3rd and 4th, side by side. And Chris, that is a hornet's nest of cars, and this is right in front of the transfer spot. First lap of this restart is complete.
Yeah, Benjamin Gerhardt hung up on the outside right here. Chris French trying to do everything he can to fill that position. Gerhardt charges down into turn 1. He's going to get down to the inside right here. Meanwhile, they're side by side behind him. That is Haley Moody on the outside. And on her inside, that is the number 80 machine of Cliff Adams. Adams is going to complete the pass, and looking to follow Adams is the number 33 of Ty Leclerc.
Ty Leclerc fighting back from an early incident. He's doing a pretty good job. Haley Moody in front of him, climbed a couple of spots, just trying to hold on to stay in that transfer window. A little bit further back, the battle for the lead is about a single car battle right now, but a little bit further back around the transfer spot, around 11th and 12th, Ben Coultis. He's the transfer car right now, sitting in 12th position. It's got Stephen Farrell and Aaron Whittam not too far behind. They're running out of laps, though, just about 7, now 6.5 laps before the end of this heat. Number 1, top 12 drivers advance to the main feature later on this evening, so the pressure is picking up.
Yeah, pressure is definitely picking up right here. We'll try to keep our eyes right there on the battle for the transfer spot. Johnny, we might be able to go double box right here and show the battle going on for 3rd position. And it is on right here between Benjamin Gerhardt and Landon Brown. Landon Brown goes a little high right here in turns 3 and 4. Chris French is going to fill that gap underneath. Got the number 80 machine of Cliff Adams looking to follow suit as well. When a driver gets hung up on the outside on a short track, Ellis, everybody smells blood in the water.
And that is why no one's afraid to use the bumper to root out the driver in front of them, because the inside really is the only guaranteed way around this track, and you're seeing it play out right in front of your eyes. 4 laps to go in heat number 1 with the battle brewing for the transfer position. 12th place that's Ben Coultis. Aaron Whittam not too far behind him. It's about 5-6 car lengths that separate Whittam from the back bumper of the final transfer position, trying to do everything he can to catch Ben Coultis. And we watch that right now, a similar pace. Right now, similar pace between those 2 drivers in the transfer position. And this is one of the most pivotal moments for these drivers. One driver will be guaranteed the spot in the feature. The other driver will be the outside driver looking in, with that last chance qualifier being their only hope.
Yeah, and both these cars are damaged. I think that the number 16 machine of Whittam is a little bit more damaged. He is driving it in as deep as he can into turn 1 and into turn 3, giving it all he's got. He's going to need some help, I think. Possibly a caution. You can see that car sideways right there in 1 and 2. He is. You definitely can't fault him for the lack of effort right here, because he is giving it all he can.
He is picking up time now. Oh, look at that car sideways. He knows it. We know it. White flag going to be flying on the field in just about half a lap. It is out right now. Lap 18 has begun. Up front, the battle for the lead is about 2-3 car lengths. You're watching the number 81 of Jaden Hop lead Kenneth Gallman. The heat number 1 is going to go to Jaden Hop. Kenneth Gallman second. Third's going to be Gerhardt with 4th. French and Adams rounds out the top 5. Looks like Ben Coultis is going to win that transfer spot. He'll be the final car in, guaranteed that starting spot in the main feature later on this evening. And wow, how about that, Chris? First heat did not disappoint in terms of excitement. The good news is we've got another one right around the corner. We're not going to waste any time, because drivers going to be getting gridded up for that second heat in just a moment. Folks, if you're enjoying the racing, let us know in the chat. Dustin Lewis in here here saying these cars are looking good. Tominator, appreciate the support. Let's look at the starting grid for heat number 2. On the pole, it's going to be Brad Nelson. To his outside, it's going to be Carson Sherman in that 09. Third's going to be Lewis Flowers with Dylan Potts to the outside in that number 2 machine. Fifth is going to be the number 49 car of Devin Jack with Richard Parks to his outside in 6th position. Ryan Hinkle in that Mountain Dew number 21 going to be starting 7th with Caleb Hunt, a familiar face to this channel, starting on the outside of row 4. Angel Ortega going to be starting 9th in that 22 with Tom Lickard in the 99 in 10th.
And as we go on to the second half of the field right here, got Matt Dickerson rolling off in the 11th position in the number 44 machine. And on his outside, a Slingshot regular in the number 60 machine. That is Steve Vest rolling off 12th. On the inside of row number 7, we got Jacob Nickerson starting in the 13th position in the number 36, another Slingshot regular. And on his outside, you guessed it, another Slingshot regular, Mr. Randy Gross in the number 31. On the inside of row 8, we've got Nathan Gentry in the number 4, rolling off from the 15th position. And on his outside, got Cam Gillens in the 07, our Slingshot teammate, Ellis, rolling off
producer
16th.
Cam.
Yeah, and I believe that Gary Steele, looks like Gary Steele did not grid up right here, so maybe he's electing to do a pit road start, but he's going to start 17th tonight.
I guess you could say he's still waiting to start the race.
I guess you can say that.
We got 6 or 7 jokes cooked up for the night, so enjoy.
Please, no. I'm the only one allowed to do that.
Oh, boy. It's going to be a long night, but it's going to be a fun night, folks, out here. Perp Peep says, about to have my first organized WSS race hyped. Yeah, good luck out there, Perp Peeps, in that. Adam Holson rooting on Brad T. Nelson and Caleb Hunt as drivers work their way down the backstretch. One car, Carson Sherman, popped out for just a little bit there. Hopefully that's not a big connection issue, but 16 cars getting gridded up here. Pace car working their way through turns 3 and 4, makes that left-hand turn off to the track. It's going to be Brad Nelson, your pole sitter, on the inside in the 32. They see the green flag. They go for the first time in heat number 2. A couple cars have to check up the right back of the field. Bumper to bumper, they get it going just fine. Look at Carson Sherman on the outside. One car off the track down to the apron. I believe that's Nathan Gentry. Everyone keeps it going. No problem so far.
Everyone does keep it going, and what a great start right there for Carson Sherman from the outside, taking the lead right here on the initial start. You don't see that often here at USA. Oh, we got trouble in turn 1.
That's the 32. Nelson and a couple other cars go careening into it. I believe that's the 31, potentially, of Randy Gross finding himself in trouble. Steve Vest caught up on that, as well as Jacob Nickerson caught up in that lap number 2 incident. Chris, there's something about lap number 2 in these heats.
Yeah, something about it indeed. Right here, we're going to go back to see what happened right here. The crash is going to be around the 32 machine right there of Brad T. Nelson. He's got Lewis Flowers right behind him in the number 40. And yeah, Brad gets some help right there from Lewis down into turn number 1. Lewis is going to pitch, Brad has that car sideways. And yeah, just accordion effect, it looks like right there. That's Ryan Hinkle turned around. You got Steve Vest. Steve came to a stop right here. And I think that Steve thought that the track was going to, that's just a little failure to communicate right there. A little bit of contact. I think that everybody is fine from that. Ryan does back it up and hit the wall, unfortunately. So he's going to have some rear damage from that. But that could have been a whole lot worse as far as, amount of damage and amount of cars involved.
And it is going to be an interesting night as we watch the replay here. Quite a bit of action going on. Oh, yeah, look at that.
Yeah, just some contact from behind right there, just misjudging corner entry speed. Brad Nelson was wanting to take it a little bit easier into turn 1, it looks like, than Lewis Flowers did. We'll have to see how race control elects to, utilize that right there. But, yeah, we're going to right now working lap 2. And as you mentioned before, Ellis, there are, the caution laps do not count in these heats right here. So trying to give these drivers every opportunity we can right here to get them in the show. And it looks like Lewis Flowers is going to have his work cut out for him because he is going to receive an EOL right there for causing that crash.
Yep, he will be sent to the back of the pack. In true Saturday night short track fashion, we got Nick M, 756 Ortega to the front. Absolutely. Someone got my 6-7 chat. R. Dot in the chat. Got it, Chris. Also, Gino Volanti and his birthday. Happy birthday, Gino, says good old Saturday night racing. Johnny, is it possible quickly, actually, yeah, we could be able to do it, quickly to take a look at the studio again and take a look at the race format potentially, just to go back to that scene to remind fans at home what we are going to be looking at. Here we go. So if you're wondering how tonight's going to work, we're in heat number 2 right now, 18 laps, 12 advance. If you're looking at heat 1 and 2 and you're not good at math like me, that's 24 total drivers. Anyone who doesn't make it from there, outside of those top 24, they've got 12 laps with the winner advancing. 25 cars will start the race. So be on the lookout for that. Wanted to make sure everyone was on the same page as to how this 3rd annual Gator Classic is going to work. We'll head back trackside, half a lap away from the restart.
Yeah, half a lap right here, and Carson Sherman, big story right there on that opening jump right there. He does have a little connection issue right there, but did a great job to get control of this race, and he's restarting right here on the inside, Ellis.
Starting on the inside, that is the number 2, Dylan Potts to the outside, side by side as we take the green flag for the 2nd time tonight. Now starting lap number 3, 2 by 2 by 2 for this 16-car field, doing everything they can to advance to the main feature tonight. There goes Dylan Potts up the track. He's got to deal with Devin Jack now to the inside in that number 49 machine, headed down into turn 3. Potts sideways.
Yeah, Dylan Potts trying to do everything he can to maintain position right there on the outside of Devin Jack. Devin is a great short track racer. We've seen him on Slingshot TV channels for a long time right here, and he's looking to get this 2nd position right here and set his sights possibly on Carson Sherman for the lead.
Yeah, that battle for the lead intensifying. About half a car length separates Carson Sherman from Devin Jack in that front bumper. One other battle going on for 4th right now. That's Angel Ortega working their way under Richard Parks. That's a battle for 4th position. But meanwhile, the battle for the lead is heating up. Devin Jack in 2nd place is now there on the back bumper of Carson Sherman. Top 10 single file, but about half a car length separate each car.
Yeah, while we watch that, I wonder if we can maybe go double box right here and show the battle going on for the 12th position, and it is heated right now. Steve Vest currently has it. Lewis Flowers in the 40 wants it right here. He's peeking to the inside of Steve, entering turn 3. Nothing going right there. It's going to be difficult to complete this pass. Lewis Flowers qualified well, so we know he's got some single car, some single lap speed. He's looking to the inside of Steve right here. He's got the position. This is for 12th.
Battle going on right in front of them. Contact between the 07 and the 32. Big trouble. That was Cam Gillens down the backstretch, interior wall. That's going to remove 1 car from that top 12. Steve Vest works his way up the track. The number 40 car of Lewis Flowers now into 10th, Vest 11th. And Brad T. Nelson, that 32, is now the final transfer car with just about 10 laps left in heat number 2 here from Lakeland International Speedway.
Yeah, and these guys behind, that are currently behind Brad Nelson, guys like Ryan Hinkle, guys like Jacob Nickerson, Nathan Gentry, they're going to have to get after it right here. We just have 10 laps to go, and not a lot of time to be able to make up ground right here. There's a pretty significant gap right there, about half a second up the road right there to Brad Nelson, who's putting a lot of heat right here on Steve Vest.
Brad Nelson applying the pressure to the back of that number 60, working the inside line. You can see Brad Nelson rolling that center of the corner just a little bit better. He's able to keep that left side of the car down on that white-yellow line, and look how close it is right there as we ride on board with Brad Nelson.
Yeah, Steve overdrove entry right there to turn 1. He slid up the hill just a little bit right there. He's trying to give it everything he can right here, getting back in the throttle. Steve's doing a really nice job right here, trying not to make any mistakes in that number 60 car. And Brad Nelson's all over his back bumper right here. We just got 8 laps to go. Oh, Steve's up the hill just a little bit. This is the opportunity Brad needs. This is not for the transfer spot, but this is to gain another position to give yourself a little bit more of a cushion if you're Brad Nelson.
The door is open, but Steve Vest has opened it to one more car. Ryan Hinkle not too far behind, and that 21 machine smells blood in the water. You can see him in that purple machine right behind Steve Vest. One mistake cost Steve Vest one spot. Jacob Nickerson up the track just a little bit. He saves it a little bit further back, but that door was open for the number 32 of Brad Nelson, and Steve Vest has got to be careful to close it quickly on the hard-charging Ryan Hinkle. That is a battle for the transfer spot. The final spot available now with 5 laps left here in heat number 2.
Yeah, Steve hit the apron right there in turn 1, got the left sides down a little bit low. That kind of upset the car. He did a nice job to recover, though. He's doing all that he can right here. And you mentioned it, Ellis. You just got to not make any mistakes. If you don't make a mistake, it's going to be really, really difficult, I think, for Ryan Hinkle to get around Steve Vest without some contact. Now, and that kind of brings us to this point right here. Oh, Hinkle is sideways. He is loose off of turn 2, and that's going to give Steve Vest a little bit of breathing room.
That's going to offer breathing room indeed for Steve Vest. He can take a sigh of relief and catch his breath, but up in 8th, what a shout out to 8th position, Randy Gross, Chris, up 6 positions right now, matching the biggest mover of the race with Angel Ortega, who's in 3rd. But Randy was caught up in that earlier incident. That 31 machine has vaulted his way all the way up into the top 8 right now. So shout out to Randy Gross, a regular viewer here on the channel, doing a good job out there from a little bit different perspective tonight, trying to hang on to that spot from Lewis Flowers. Just 2.5 laps remaining. Going back to that transfer spot, Chris, Ryan Hinkle is there. About half a car length, slides it up the track off of turn number 3, or I should say turn number 2. It's 3 car lengths separating him from Steve Vest.
Yeah, you see that car pick up a really big push right there in turns 3 and 4. That just signifies that Ryan has given it everything he has right now. That car has a little bit of damage as well to the right front. Not significant enough, I think, to really hamper the car, but maybe is upsetting the handling just a little bit right here. As we're coming right here, these drivers are taking the white flag.
White flag, it's the last opportunity for Ryan Hinkle. Up front, it's Carson Sherman and Devin Jack. Everyone in the top 5 looks just settled and looks comfortable with saying, this is fine, this gets me into the final main feature tonight. Everyone looking to maintain position, but going a little bit further back, Ryan Hinkle doing everything he can, sideways through the corner, slip sliding away. So are Ryan Hinkle's chances of making the feature. He'll be 13th in this heat, but he will start in the front 4 positions in the last chance qualifier, which we have coming up in a moment. You can see the top 10 finishers there. Sherman, Jack, Ortega with big moves, 6 positions. Richard Parks up there into the top 4 as well. And that's going to bring us, no time to catch your breath here, 12 laps in this last chance qualifier. Chris, what do you expect to see out of these 10 drivers here?
As the starting grid rolls right here, it is going to be chaotic from the drop of the green flag. I think these drivers know that this is their last chance to get into the feature.
This is their last chance to make it, as it is known as the last chance qualifier. 12 cars will make 10 cars will make their attempt here to gain that final spot. And the guy who has the biggest advantage, Aaron Whittam, we've talked about him in the last heat. He's starting on the pole. Ryan Hinkle also saw him finish 13th in the last heat. He'll start 2nd. Stephen Farrell will be 3rd. 4th will be Jacob Nickerson. Nate Friesen 5th with Nathan Gentry 6th. You see there on the screen Zachary Mitchell, who had trouble earlier, along with Cam Gillens, who went around in that 2nd heat. Ronald Hall and Gary Steele will bring up the final 2 spots in 9th and 10th position. Chris, this is about to get incredibly, incredibly intense as these drivers work their way around the track right now. 2 pace laps to get them ready, and belts tighten for what are sure to be 12 of the most intense laps we have seen so far tonight. Amy Mack in the check, rooting on the 31 of Randy Gross, also R.Dot 2010, rooting on Let's Go Stephen Vest. Steve Vest made it in that last one. He'll make the main feature, as will Randy Gross. But these 8 drivers right now on the track looking at their chances of slipping away. Expect the beating and the banging to happen early here, with drivers just doing everything they can to get up to the front. How desperate do you expect to see drivers? Do you expect anyone to see that, use that bumper, Chris?
Well, everybody played really nice, I think, in both those heats around the transfer positions. But yeah, this might be the chance right here where we'll see a little bit of a bumper action possibly between, transferring into the main race and going home. We didn't really get a chance to see Aaron Whittam and people like Nate Friesen and even Ryan Hinkle with clean cars there. They took some damage in their races. So let's see what kind of speed they have right here in this LCQ with clean cars.
We're about to find out what speed these drivers have. Whittam and Hinkle. Whittam on the inside, Hinkle on the outside. They're your top two starters. A bit of a wiggle for the number 16 of Whittam. Hinkle's going to try to take advantage of it, but he's going to do so on the outside. We've seen that be no man's land, but Hinkle makes it work, taking the lead from second place down into turn number 3.
Yeah, we've seen the outside in a couple of these races right here in these, early races get a good launch. Oh, as that's one car sideways, that's Stephen Farrell. He does a nice job of keeping it off Aaron Whittam right here, and we're still green.
Still green. Farrell almost into the back bumper of the number 16 there of Aaron Whittam. Drivers seeing their chances slip away. Just 10 laps remaining in the last chance qualifier tonight. You can see it. The action is intensifying here. Look at, looks like the third place car, Stephen Farrell, making that move.
Yeah, he got down on the apron right there. That was really close right there in turns 1 and 2. That's going to open the door up here for Nate Friesen to possibly be able to gain some ground on Farrell just ahead. The number 16 car up ahead, that is Aaron Whittam. Aaron is leaving a little bit of inside open right there for Steven, and Steven wants to do everything he can to close the gap, to fill that hole on the inside.
And he is doing everything he can, including driving that thing sideways, seeing the front of the track with that right side window. Not what you want to do here, but he's making it work so far. Hanging tough in third, but he's got Nate Friesen, Chris, you mentioned it, doing battle right behind him. Friesen ducks to the high line, see if he can't make a little bit of ground there. He's going to have to think again as they go down the backstretch. Friesen again chasing that third place car. A reminder, the only spot that transfers, position number 25 of the main feature, will be the winner of this race, and they have just 8 laps to go. Make that 7 laps to go here.
Yeah, and Ryan Hinkle is putting down some very impressive, very consistent lap times up here with all the clean air on the nose of that Chevrolet. Doing a nice job right there, nice and steady, and like I said before, we didn't...
Oh, there you go! Stephen Farrell and Friesen might have got together there. Big trouble down the front straightaway, and Chris, I was just about to mention it. A caution could change everything. Ryan Hinkle, 8 car lengths ahead, feeling comfortable, but that comfort has suddenly dissipated with this lap number 6 caution.
Yeah, it certainly has. If there's one person that didn't want that caution, it is Ryan Hinkle. We're going to go back right here to see what transpired. Saw Stephen Farrell putting a lot of pressure up ahead on the number 16 car of Aaron Whittam right here. That's the number 18. Oh, and yeah, Farrell gets sideways right there. We saw that car really loose on corner exit a few times right there. Have to wonder if that right rear tire temperature had just increased, built up that pressure a little bit too fast. It looks like Steven is going to fast tow back to the pits, thinking that after that spin, that his chances to get into the feature tonight, the Gator Classic, those chances are over.
And that had kind of been something that had been brewing for at least 3 or 4 laps. With Farrell being sideways, just driving it for everything he had. Couple comments coming in the chat right now. Dustin Lewis looking forward to that LCQ. Hopefully it has not disappointed. Randy Gross rooting on Ryan Hinkle. We saw Randy qualify in that last heat. Dustin Lewis says they are driving hard out there. Indeed, I think that is the truest statement that's been made all night long. And hard might be an understatement for some of these drivers. Connor Lyons, first caution on the track. And hey, we went longer than we had all night without a caution, so kudos to these drivers. And you can look at the story of the race from Ryan Hinkle, Chris. Getting that lead on lap 1 was critical. We've seen track position be important. Do you expect to see that carry over into the feature in just a little bit?
Yeah, I definitely do. It seems like it is difficult to make a pass. I am shocked, honestly, that we have seen on a couple of these restarts the car starting on the outside gain control of this race. Something to be said for the launch that you get in the restart zone. I don't know if it's maybe been an advantage for the outside driver. It's definitely an advantage for the driver on the inside through the corners. That inside lane is just the preferred lane, grip-wise, speed-wise. But we have seen a couple of good launches from those outside cars. Ryan Hinkle, though, he feels confident right here. He's going to restart. He's going to start on the inside. We'll see what kind of launch he can get in this 21 car starting on the inside this time.
They've lined up 7 cars left, 7 cars looking for one final transfer position. If you love short track Saturday night action, you have tuned in at the right time, folks. We're lucky and glad that you found us here on Slingshot TV for the 3rd annual Gator Classic. Make sure you pull those belts tight, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up like button. Doesn't cost you a thing, but it is going to help our channel tremendously and help get more eyeballs on your favorite drivers who are right now about to take the green flag. It'll be 6 laps left in the last chance qualifier. Hinkle gets the jump on Aaron Whittam. First and second off to the races, about a car length separate them, but the battle for 3rd between Friesen and Mitchell intensifies with Nate Friesen getting the better of that battle. He's up to 3rd, and he's got his sights set on Aaron Whittam in 2nd.
Yeah, we think these cars right here, the 16 and the 18 of Whittam and Friesen, are teammates given their similar paint schemes on the 16 and the 18. So have to be curious right here to see how the teammates decide to race each other with time running out right here in this LCQ. And it looks like Friesen's going to get to the inside of Whittam. Oh,
no corner
contact
given. Teammates out the window here, and that's going to be Nate Friesen working his way by the number 16 of Aaron Whittam, who he rooted up the track. Probably incidental contact there, but here with just now 4 laps to go, it doesn't matter. All the gloves are off, fighting for the last position in the main feature here of the Gator Classic.
Man, you can see the entry speed on some of these cars. These cars are sideways on corner entry because these drivers are driving it in deeper than they have all night. Nathan Gentry sideways underneath Zachary Mitchell. He's going to hold on to it, though. Mitchell gives him the room that he needs. This is the battle right here for the 4th spot. Nathan knows he's got to get after it if he's going to chase down the leader.
3 laps left here from Lakeland at USA International. Now 2.5 laps left. Drivers fighting for the final spot in the main feature of the 3rd annual Gator Classic. Ryan Hinkle is your leader. Right behind him, about 5 car lengths back, it's Nate Friesen. 2 laps left for Nate. If he's got anything left in the tank, he's got to show it now. They ran equal lap times that last time by.
Oh, the 16 car of Whittam way up the hill right there. Jacob Nickerson was sideways on entry to 1. He holds on to it, though. He's still driving it in deep right here, trying to get all he can, while Ryan Hinkle comes off turn 4 and takes the white flag.
Whiplash Simcam's white flag flies here in the last chance qualifier. Ryan Hinkle just got to hold it steady if he's going to get that final transfer spot into the main feature here in just a few moments as the sun sets in Lakeland. Nate Friesen doing everything he can to track down that 21, but he just doesn't have enough laps to make it work. It's going to be Ryan Hinkle winning the last chance qualifier in the last spot in the Gator Classic. Friesen, Gentry, Aaron Whittam, and Jacob Nickerson finish out the top 5. As we close the chapter here of these qualifying races, and wow, that's a full night of racing right there, folks. But the good news is we've got the main feature coming up for you. We haven't even gotten to the main event yet. We got a couple more chats coming through. HT379 rooting on Brad Nelson and Brandon Willard. Also, Lindsay K2Y rooting on the 71 car. Looking for who 71 is. I believe that is, I'm not sure if you know off the top of your head, Chris. That's Kenneth Gallman. Yeah. And Connor Lyons rooting on Ryan Hinkle. Also, Randy Gross getting ready for the job. And Rebinor says, nice job, Ryan Hinkle. Folks, these drivers have about 3 minutes in warm-up, and would you mind if we took a quick break to catch our breath as we get ready for the main event? We'll be back in about 60 seconds, folks. We're going to hear from our partners at Whiplash Simcams who are helping us bring all the action to you live tonight. We'll be right back. Back here live at USA International Speedway in Lakeland, Florida. If you're just joining us, we have just completed the first two heats and the last chance qualifier, all helping us get the grid set for the third annual Gator Classic. Ryan Hinkle, you're seeing him roll around in that practice session right now. He's the freshest. And Chris, do you think that has an advantage for the driver who's the freshest on the track?
Yeah, it's definitely an advantage. The only disadvantage that Ryan's going to have is I believe he's going to start shotgun on the field for having to transfer through the LCQ. So track position is going to be something that he has to make up for tonight. Yeah, I definitely think that he showed us that he has a lot of speed. If he can keep his car clean, I think he probably would have transferred through the heat, given the speed he had in the LCQ if he didn't get caught up in that crash. In his heat. So, yeah, maybe an advantage right there of, having a lot of track time very soon or, close to green flag time.
Yeah, and also two cars we're going to be keeping an eye on, Jaden Hopp and Carson Sherman. They were your two heat winners. Two of the fastest cars on the track. They'll have the advantage of starting on the front row for this main 200-lap feature, and that is 200 laps, and they are going to go by fast here, folks. Drivers working 20-second laps. It is known as a Little Richmond, so to speak, one of the fastest short tracks out there on the iRacing surface, and it's about ready to give drivers the ultimate test tonight, chasing down some prizes and chasing down, most importantly, that third annual Gator Cup. Trophy literally in the shape of an alligator head, Chris. So not only bragging rights on the line, a lot more tonight. We're also going to be giving away a free John Hunter Nemechek t-shirt in the chat here. Don't worry, it's not used. I haven't worn it. We'll be giving away a brand new John Hunter Nemechek t-shirt here in just a little bit. Look at Johnny. I already produced the graphic. You can see it. I thought those were on the track for a second. I was like, hey, that's not a good-looking paint scheme. But those are some good-looking prizes we're going to be giving away, along with an Eric Jones koozie if you like to keep your drinks cool. And I think that's going to lead us to the grid here for the Gator Classic. Jaden Hopp and Jordan Sherman, Carson Sherman, those are two of the fastest cars. They are your respective heat winners in Heat 1 and 2. Kenneth Gallman and that number 71 was fast as well. He'll be starting third, along with Devin Chack in the number 49, starting from the outside of row number 2. Benjamin Gerhardt, a force to be reckoned with in Heat number 1. He'll start fifth with Angel Ortega. The biggest mover of the heat race is starting on the outside of row 3 in that 22 machine. Christopher French in the 53 will be starting 7th with Richard Parks in the 8th. Don't expect him to park it tonight, though. Cliff Adams starting 9th in that number 80 with Dylan Potts coming from 10th tonight.
And rolling off in the 11th position, you got Landon Brown in the number 5, and on his outside, you got Matt Dickerson in the 44. Haley Moody, she's going to be rolling off in the 13th position on the inside of row 7, and on her outside is the number 78 of Caleb Hunt. Starting in the 15th position, you've got the number 33 of Ty Leclerc, and on his outside, we saw a driver recover in the heats. That's Lewis Flowers in the number 40. Brandon Willard is going to roll off from the 17th position in the 43, and Randy Gross, Slingshot regular, going to be rolling off in the 18th position. Joshua Torsch is going to start from the 19th position in number 19, and on his outside, Tom Lickard in the number 99.
Slingshot regular Jacob Phillips going to be coming from 21st tonight. He'll have his work cut out for him, along with Brad Nelson starting 22nd. Ben Coltis in the number 13 starts 23rd. Steve Vest, fast in heat number 1, will be starting 24th in that number 60 machine. And the last chance qualifying winner, Ryan Hinkle, will be starting tail end of the field, 25th. Drivers working their way around the backstretch. Long race, Chris. Drivers, their crew chief's going to be coaching them just to stay calm. We will see contact early and often tonight. It's going to be a battle for track position, as you saw in those heat races and the last chance qualifier. It's going to be Jaden Hopp and Carson Sherman. It's going to be Hopp on the inside, Sherman on the outside. They see the green flag for the first time tonight. We're racing in the main feature of the Gator Classic. Side by side into turn 2, down the backstretch, a little bit of contact between Sherman and Jaden Hopp in that 81 machine. They head down into turn 3, side by side, 3 rows deep.
Yeah, Jaden Hopp with a good advantage right there. Kenneth Gallman going to look to maintain his position right here on the inside. That's in that red number 97. Oh, some contact right there, possibly with Carson Sherman. Got one car up the hill. That's Devin Jack up against the wall right there. The car is scattering everywhere to avoid the 49 machine.
Driver somehow making it work here on lap number 2. A couple of near misses that could have put us under caution, but these top 25 qualifiers showing off the skills early here. Top 1, Jaden Hopp. Second, Carson Sherman and Kenneth Gallman round out your top 3 right now as they work their way down the backstretch. Chris, Jaden Hopp has gotten about a 4 or 5 car length lead on the rest of the field. You can see Kenneth Gallman in that number 71 machine trying to hold off Gerhart and Sherman, but he's got a hornet's nest brewing behind him.
Yeah, that right there, that is Carson Sherman, who has hung up on the outside right there. Carson wants desperately to get to the inside. He's going to have position right now as the battle is on behind him. That is for the 6th position. You've got the number 53 right there of Chris French on the inside, and the number 113 machine. That is Richard Parks on the outside. Battle on here for the 6th position, and watching from behind is the number 80 of Cliff Adams. He's just looking to take advantage of whoever's going to come out of this deal ahead, and it looks like he's choosing to follow Chris French in the 53.
And I'm impressed right now with Richard Parks in that 113, who somehow, Chris, made that outside line work. That had been really the story of the qualifying races tonight, including those heats, was just how difficult that high line was to run and maintain position. But right now, Richard Parks doing it well. In fact, doing it well enough to keep that position, that 6th place position, over Christopher French, who looks down to the inside now, trying to hold off and advancing Cliff Adams in that black and silver machine, who's looking to the inside down into turn 1.
Yeah, Chris French really feeling the pressure right here from Cliff Adams, who is peeking to the inside. Doesn't really have position entering the corner right there. Just seems like he's trying to get out of the mirror of Chris French up ahead in the 53. Maybe trying to put some pressure on him, get him to look in his mirror a little bit, maybe possibly force him into a mistake if he can continue to peek to the inside like that.
And further up front, the battle has intensified. Kenneth Gallman has run down the leader. Jaden Hopp, who had about a 5-car length lead over Gallman 3 laps ago, has seen that shrink into less than a car length. Gallman now breathing down the neck of the leader, Jaden Hopp, as they work their way down into turn number 1.
Yeah, oh, some contact from behind right there. Gallman's going to go around.
Gerhart and a couple other cars in the entire field piles in. Oh my gosh, the carnage, the humanity in turn number 2. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it.
It's a track blocking incident right there, Ellis. 1 car went around, 2 cars, 3 cars, and the whole track became blocked at that point right there. The contact started around Kenneth Gallman right here. Number 71 on the pylon, number 97 on the car, the red/orange car right there. Some contact from behind right there from Benjamin Gerhart, the 22 behind him. That's Angel Ortega gets into Gerhart. Chris French turned around right there. Big contact right there. There it is right there. He's up in the air. Yeah, we'll have to see how bad the damage is to some of these cars. The number 2 right there, that's Dylan Potts, the A&W machine. I see Devin Jack turned around.
Who's not turned around?
Yeah, Brandon Willard right there. Yeah, it'd be easier to talk about, Ellis, who was not involved in that crash than who was involved.
My goodness, I don't, in my recent memory, I don't think I've seen anything like this. Short track or even Daytona would look at that, Chris. That is a wild scene that you don't see that often. And the sun is setting here in Lakeland, and boy, oh boy, that was a wild crash. To put us under caution for the first time. It'd been a relatively calm first 10 laps, but that calm erupted there on lap number 10. And I do believe, Chris, please reassure me that these caution laps do count potentially?
Yes, they count in the feature.
Thanks to racing gods. Okay.
Yeah. They count in the feature right here, and a lot of drivers right here, this is a lot of damage early on, but the good news, Ellis, is that there's a lot of cars that don't have terminal damage from that crash. I see a lot of right front damage on some of these cars. That can be overcome after what we saw in the in the LCQ and after what we saw in the heat. So never fear if your driver was involved. It does not mean that their night is over.
No, they got plenty of time to work this out. And that gives us a second to catch our breath. In the chat, comments coming in fast and furious. We got someone booing Caleb Hunt. Caleb Hunt, unfortunately, didn't make this race, so your boo is going to go unused there, I suppose. I think
he's in this race.
Oh, he is. Where's Caleb?
Yeah, he's running in the 20th position right now.
Okay. So it's not going to go wasted. I think they're just messing around a little bit. Scott goes fast in here with the seal as well. We got ETDINC going for Landon Brown and Haley Moody in the 5 and 50 respectively. Someone asked, is that the flag man, Brandon Willard? And yes, indeed, that is the flag man for the Cars Tour on the shore. I think it's South Boston. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that is the flag man indeed. Also, thank you for the sub, Cody Eldred. Scott on Scott says that is an unfamiliar number 81. Yes, we do agree with you. We're used to seeing Scotty Sobczak in that number 81. We got 15 minutes repair for the 22 camp as we get ready to go green here. Allison, it was a 15-car pileup in turn 2. That's what happened. You can go back and watch that. Right now, we got to set our sights on the lead. That is going to be the number 81 of, the number 81 is off to the races. That is Jaden Hopp. Along with Park in second, almost a little bit of contact there between second and third place as they work their way through turns number 1 and 2.
Yeah, some contact right there around the 4th position. One car way up the hill right there. That's the number 2 car of Dylan Potts. Dylan is going to hold on to it. A lot of damage to the nose of that machine right there. Meanwhile, back up here at the front of this thing, a little bit of a breakaway right here. Single file action going on right here. Jaden Hopp. You've got Richard Parks in second, Haley Moody third, Carson Sherman 4th, and Lewis Flowers in the 5th position.
That's your top 5. Hey, let us know what driver you're rooting on. Who do you think is going to win tonight? Type their number or type their name in the chat and let us know. We got Wade Gaming in here rooting on Brandon Flagman, Brandon Willard. Let us know who you're rooting for as we watch this battle. That's Jaden Hopp. That is second place. Park right now doing battle for the lead. And it is about half a car length separating Hopp and Parks. About 4 car lengths back to Haley Moody, who's the biggest climber in this field, working her way through that lap number 10 incident that saw the entire track block. And look at Parks all over the back of the number 81. Can separate those cars. Looks like a magnet is strapped to the back in front of them.
Yeah, Richard Parks putting a lot of pressure right here on Jaden Hopp. And Ellis, one thing that heats don't give us is a chance to see all the drivers together on the track. So it's hard to see how you match up with everybody because now we have all drivers on the track together. So for some of these drivers, are seeing some of their competitors for the first time tonight. And maybe this is the first time that Richard Parks and Jaden Hopp have been near each other on track. And we'll have to see right here how the two compare to each other.
It is an interesting dynamic. You mentioned it. It's the first time we're seeing some of these cars clashing against each other. That battle for the lead has continued to stay stable around half a car length or a car length separating Jaden Hopp from Richard Parks. That's first and second. A little bit further back through the field. Want to go back to Devin Jack. This is a battle going on around the 11th, 12th, and 13th position. You can see them rooting their way through the corner. That is Devin Jack leading Jacob Phillips and Brad T. Nelson working their way under Tom Lickard in that number 99, who I believe has some damage. They're getting that sorted out. But behind them, my goodness, the battle going on between the 80 and the number 15 machine as they work their way off the corner across the front stretch.
Yeah, that's the 80 and the 13 right there. The 13 of Ben Coltis in that black and yellow. I think that is it's hard to see the nose of that car. I think that is a Michigan Tech car right there. Yes, it is. And they are battling it out right here for the 16th position as these drivers are looking to get settled right here. We're in a nice little groove at this point. A lot of battling still going on the track right here. And for Ellis, for a lot of these drivers, they're trying to figure out what kind of damage or what kind of effect the damage from that big crash has had on their cars. Many of them still getting a feel for their vehicles.
Yeah, I think that's important to note, and maybe even more important to note, if your driver's a little bit further back in the field right now, it's okay. Even if they got damaged, they're going to likely have some time to repair that under the cautions that we are undoubtedly going to see, especially as the night goes on here at USA International in Lakeland, Florida. Right now, watching that battle, I believe that is a battle for currently the 18th position, potentially, that we're watching, the number 78 of Caleb Hunt. They're actually the 20th position with Angel Ortega, who was fast in that first heat but got some damage. You can see Angel struggling with the handling of that car, slipping up the track for a couple other cars to go by.
Jacob Phillips is involved.
Jacob Phillips, the number 19, also involved in that incident. That was Joshua Torsch getting some heavy damage, and we're going to have to hit the pause button and see what just happened in turn number 3 to put us under the second caution of the night here on lap number 25. Ryan Hinkle also in the wall.
The contact is going to start right here around Torsch and Phillips right here. Looks like Torsch taking a little bit of a defensive line down the backstretch right here. Again, Jacob Phillips gets into the back of him, and the 32 machine of Brad Nelson gets into the back of Jacob Phillips. Gonna turn Torsch around right there. Tom Licker trying to get by on the inside. And he did. He took evasive action down pit road right there. Had a few other cars involved behind them, I do believe. I saw, Ryan Hinkle, as you mentioned, Ellis. You also had the number 80 machine of Cliff Adams take some damage right there, I believe, also. Along with a 33 car of Ty Leclerc. I think he also took a little bit of damage. In the aftermath behind them, we're going to go back right there. Yeah, this is just chain reaction. This is short track racing. An incident that happens up ahead, since you are in very tight, small confines, Ellis, usually results in a bigger crash than what it was initially going to be.
Not quite as big as that lap 2 incident, but still putting us under the caution for the second time tonight. Doesn't look like we're going to see any takers on pit road. We'll take a second to catch up with the chat. A couple folks rooting on the number 43 of Brandon Willard, rooting on those Mystic Racing League guys. Also, looks like Allison Main found her answer to what happened. Also, Amy Mack, we just found out Randy Grosskreutz has a nickname, the Bubble City Bullet. Amy, what is Bubble City? What city is that? I'm not sure what that is. Let us know what city that is. Also, Freight Train 123, thanks for the sub. And Fox Rob Sim Racing says, good luck, folks. So lots of y'all getting involved in the chat. Reminder, we are giving away that John Hunter Nemechek t-shirt, as well as Eric Jones. Giving some Legacy Motor Club, I guess, merch away tonight in the chat. We'll do that later on in the race. Whether you like to wear shirts, or whether you like your beer to wear a koozie, we got you covered tonight on that apparel. Drivers getting ready. I believe we're going to still have 2 to go here. I think it might be a good opportunity. Have they gotten the 1 to go yet? Yeah, I think they have maybe gotten the 1 to go. They're lining up.
Still 2 to go.
Okay. All right, let's do some trivia then. Let's do some trivia. At the bottom of the screen, you're going to see a trivia question. And go ahead and give us your best guesses in the chat. Which Florida track hosts the Dirt Car Nationals, where winners receive a signature Big Gator trophy? Is it Volusia Speedway, Daytona, or Homestead, Miami? Let us know in the chat what you think the correct answer here is. By the way, we did find out Bubble City is Champaign, Illinois. Yeah, we are going green, so we'll go ahead and look at the restart here. Richard Parks and Jaden Hopp. Parks on the outside, Hopp on the inside. We'll go green for the 3rd time tonight here in the 3rd annual Gator Classic. That's Hopp on the outside inside doing everything he can to hold on to that spot. But it looks like Richard Parks not willing to go quietly into the night as they work their way down the backstretch. We saw Parks last time out really do good work on the outside. Can he maintain that level of performance this time around?
Yeah, and the action is on behind them. Also right here, double file all the way back through the field right here. Jaden Hopp doing all that he can right here to maintain position right here on the inside of Richard Parks. Richard Parks has had a lot of speed in that 113 machine, putting a lot of pressure on Jaden. He's going to look to see if he can get around him the tough way on the outside here at USA. A good run off of turn 4, but Hopp is still inside.
Hop says, not yet, sir. And the outside line continues to have momentum. That's Richard Parks in that 113, that blue and white special on the outside part of the track. We've seen no driver really be able to do well. Contact between the leaders. It's going to send Parks sideways. Parks is able to hold on to it, but it's going to hand the lead single-handedly to Jaden Hop in that number 81 machine. That battle is settled for now. But now Devin Jack, position 3. Lewis Flowers in the number 40 machine smells blood in the water. Saw an opening, but it's going to think better of it here, at least on lap number 32. And he's got Brandon Willard. How about Brandon Willard in that number 43 machine as we watch a couple of cars up the track? And that's a battle going on, I believe, around the 13th and 14th position right now. Wild racing going on out there. Watching that number 50 machine of Haley Moody doing everything she can to hold on to that spot.
Yeah, Haley Moody right here looking to the inside of the number 2 machine of Dylan Potts entering turn 3 right here. She's got position on the inside. That contact you saw up at the front of the field, that was just a hip check in turns 3 and 4. That short track racing that we're going to see all throughout this night right here is Haley Moody looking to get to the inside, looking to complete this pass on Dylan Potts. Potts has a lot of damage to that A&W car. I think he's got a lot of it fixed, though. It looks improved after what it was earlier.
You can see them continuing to battle, folks. We asked you in the chat which Florida track has that big Gator trophy. It is Volusia Speedway. Good job if you got that correct. We'll have a couple more Gator-themed, Florida-themed trivia questions coming up for you shortly as we continue to watch Potts try to make the move back on Haley Moody down into the corner.
Yeah, she gives room right there as he got the position on the inside. I think that Haley's going to get the run right here on corner exit. To solidify her position right here. That puts her up to the 12th position. And up ahead of her, the action is intense right there. You got Kenneth Gallman putting some pressure on the number 13 machine of Ben Coltis to get into the top 10.
That is Coltis trying to hold off Gallman in that number 71. That machine doing everything they can to get to the front as we watch that battle. The 13 car, the 13 car of Coltis working their way down the backstretch right now. Chris, it seems like everyone, generally speaking, is single file. What does that tell you about how these race cars are handling and kind of what the dynamic on the track might be right now here on lap number 38 of 200 tonight?
Yeah, the only battle for position we have right here is around the number 9 of Carson Sherman, Joshua Torsch in the 19, Landon Brown in the 5. That's the only side-by-side action that we have going on right now for the 17th position. It just tells me right now these drivers recognize, the speed on that inside lane. They recognize the groove. And Ellis, I think that's important to note right here that, there's a lot of laps to go in this thing right here. You just want to get in a groove, try to understand your car, try to understand what tire wear is going to do. These cars don't have a lot of horsepower. Just 500 horsepower on these cars tour late model stocks. And that means that, the opportunities I've always found, Ellis, at least, from my perspective, that with lesser horsepower comes less opportunities to create runs, to make passes. And so I think that we might see some of this tonight. We might see a lot of this single file around the bottom right here until you start to get some wear on these tires, some temperature, some tire wear, to possibly be able to cause these cars to slip and slide a little bit and get some difference in lap times.
Do you think there might be some comers and goers here as we approach the tire crossover kind of wear point where you do start to see a difference?
Yeah, I think so. I think that you'll see some drivers maybe push pretty hard at the very beginning right here. And you might see some drivers start to, come on in the later stages. Tire wear is definitely still, a factor, even with just 500 horsepower. So, we're going to see some drivers. It's not like the wear that you'd see with like an 800 or 900 horsepower vehicle. But it's more just, you're just sliding a little bit more than your competitors. You're sliding more than the people around you. And, the more that you slide, the more you're giving up lap time.
Well, a couple cars that are not giving up lap time right now. That's Jaden Hop and Richard Parks. You're watching that battle for the lead. Lewis Flowers has suddenly joined in the top 3, find themselves nearly side by side, certainly nose to tail here, headed down into turn number 1. This is a battle for the lead, and we've got tight racing going on all over the track. Checking in with the chat real quick. We got some big 19 and 13 fans in the chat tonight. Just looking for those number 19 and 13. That is Joshua Torsch. And I believe the number 13 car is Ben Coltis. So they've got a fan club going on there tonight. The 19 and the 13, Torsch and Coltis. So continue to root on your favorite drivers in the chat.
Forward. That's the 22.
22 sideways is going to put us under caution. Angel Ortega, the biggest mover in heat number 1, finds himself in trouble here on lap number 45, nearly the quarter-way mark of the 3rd annual Gator 200.
Yeah, let's go back here to see what happened. That's Angel right there in that black and pink number 22. Running back there around the 20th position. That car is going to get sideways right here. That car is damaged, got some pretty significant damage. We heard in the chat earlier, a lot of repair time left on that 22. And yeah, that car just looks like it's very difficult to drive. He gets it sideways right there off turn 4. Everybody behind him is able to avoid Ortega in the 22. He's going to get it back going right here, and we'll re-rack him right here on this next restart.
Allison Main in the chat, rooting on the number 40 machine. Folks, if you are joining us, whether you've been watching all night or you're just now tuning in, thank you for finding us here at Slingshot TV. We bring you regular weekly racing, but we also broadcast special events as well. And I know we've got a couple cars coming down pit road here potentially for some damage repair, maybe some fuel. But folks, make sure to hit that subscribe button and like button. It doesn't cost you anything. You don't have to enter a credit card or anything like that. Just the button, and it helps us out immensely. And continue to root on your favorite driver. We're going to be giving away some prizes later on in the evening once we get over to the halfway mark. Several drivers on pit road now, Chris.
Yeah, we got Steve Vest on pit road, Ryan Hinkle on pit road as well. I see Kenneth Gallman making a pit stop, Carson Sherman making a pit stop. We see Devin Jack. So, yeah, a lot of cars. Gerhard on pit road. A lot of cars looking to get tires and fuel, get some service done right here to their cars. And, yeah, maybe starting to feel a little bit of that wear. They do have 3 sets, Ellis. 3 sets in the pits. And that's a pretty good green flag run right there. About a quarter of the way through this thing. So I think that was a good decision right there to get tires right there. Several cars staying out. Some of our leaders, Ellis, staying out. Jaden Hopp, Richard Parks, Lewis Flowers, Brandon Willard. They all elected to stay out, and this is going to be a very important restart. And if we are able to go green right here, let's see how much these tires mean for these drivers who took fresh rubber right here compared to the drivers who are still on the tires that started the race on.
We're going to be watching those drivers who've come down pit road like Caleb Hunt, Ben Coltis, not sure if he took tires, but Brad Nelson, all the other drivers that you mentioned, Randy Gross, Kenneth Gallman. We're going to be keeping an eye on those cars to see just how quickly they can kind of work their way through the field, and we'll be able to have a good kind of view of just how important these fresh tires are going to be on this 3/4 mile USA International, Little Richmond, as they call it. Leaders getting ready for the restart here on lap number 49, coming to lap 50, exactly the quarter of the way mark of the Gator Classic here in Lakeland. It's going to be Hop and Parks. That's your front row. Second row is going to be Lewis Flowers and Brandon Willard up top in that red and yellow machine. The flagman holds that green flag and waits for Hop to mash that throttle. We're back underway here in Central Florida. Hop gets away cleanly with Richard Parks second, Lewis Flowers third, and watch Brandon Willard on the outside trying to get a run on third.
How about this run tonight for Brandon Willard in that number 43 machine? A great run out of the flagman, as somebody described him earlier right here in the 4th spot. He's putting some pressure right here on Lewis Flowers as the action on this restart is intense, Ellis.
Tyler Leclerc and Brad Nelson working the inside. You're riding on board Brandon Willard, but a little bit further behind him. A couple of cars showing those noses to the inside of the cars in front of them, looking for more. One of those cars a moment ago was Ty Leclerc, looking for more on that number 44, Matt Dickerson. Doesn't get that spot pulled off right now as they head down into turn 1. But Leclerc is going to again set his sights on that number 44 inside him. And Chris, I'm curious if we can't maybe get a lap around here from a driver's perspective on kind of braking and what these drivers have to do to get around here from a driver's perspective.
Yeah, we can definitely do that as these drivers work their way around here. Riding on board right here with Ty Leclerc, and yeah, heavy on the brakes right here into the corner right here. Ty Leclerc is one of the drivers still on the tires he started the race on, so this one might be sliding around a little bit. Top speed down the backstretch is, I don't have it in front of me right here, but it is pretty high. These cars going pretty fast right here. Off of turn 4 right here. On these restarts, these colder tires, sometimes the car, I noticed when I was turning some laps earlier, would slide just a little bit. Ty Leclerc's got a nice little tidy line around the bottom, and that's what you want to do right here. Easing back into that throttle. You know, you can definitely be aggressive with the throttle on these things. As I mentioned before, not a lot of horsepower and a lot of grip, a lot of downforce. So, yeah, these cars reward the driver that really wants to charge.
Charging, oh boy, speaking of charging, up front, Richard Parks just got a little bit of the wall, just got it just the slightest bit. He'd been working a bit of a different line for the last couple of laps, Chris, kind of bringing it in a little bit later and then kind of arcing it down through the center of the corner. A good way to kind of get speed and runs off the corner, but do you risk any sort of tire fade or tire wear with that sort of line here?
Yeah, you definitely can. You know, I mentioned before that it really rewards the drivers, you know, that want to charge. But, you know, with that charge comes that increased tire temperature, increased tire pressure, meaning that you do have a little bit more wear because of it. You know, and yeah, that will slow you down. That will hurt your lap time as the race goes on. We saw Richard Parks putting a lot of pressure on Jaden Hopp earlier, and I'm going to be curious to see if he can maintain the pressure right here on this restart, Ellis.
See if he can maintain the pressure right now. He's looking like he's sticking with him pretty good, but one car I'm keeping an eye on, Chris, that is struggling, even on newer tires. Kenneth Gallman in 15th position, a little bit further back in the field. He's been bleeding spots in that number 97 machine for the past several laps. Continues to plummet through the field. Not sure if he found the wall a few moments ago, but he's lost at least 3 cars as he's stuck on the outside in what typically I should say, because Brandon Park seems to be the exception. Richard Park seems to be the exception tonight, but that outside line has been a little bit of what we might call no man's land tonight, and Gallman kind of seeing that play out in real time.
It's kind of like an old school Bristol race, Ellis. Remember how old Bristol used to be?
Oh, yeah.
Where you didn't want to get hung up on the outside. Kind of seeing that tonight right here, that outside lane. You see the groove right there. There is rubber that is laid down on that lane. It's just, it just doesn't have the speed, doesn't have the grip. Now, Gallman's up a little too high right there. He got up into the marbles, his right side's into the marbles, and that makes the car particularly loose, especially on corner entry and corner exit. He does a nice job to hold on to it, but yeah, you definitely want to be with your left sides around that yellow line through the corners.
A little bit up ahead of them, look at Brad Nelson and Haley Moody. That's the battle you see on screen right now. Going on behind Devin Jack. Nelson working his way on the high line. Might have found a little something up there in that number 32 machine. Haley Moody sideways through the corner, hanging on to it and finding a little bit of speed as they cross the line here to come to lap number 62 of 200. That single file here in 11th, 12th, and 13th, but it is nose to tail. The energy has not dissipated whatsoever here at USA International Speedway.
Yeah, Haley Moody right there in the 13th position, and Landon Brown right there in the 14th position. I believe both those cars are teammates, the 50 and the 5, so those two possibly working together tonight, trying to work their way up here through the field right here. We saw Haley have some track position earlier, but she has lost it now back here in the 13th position as Devin Jack up ahead of this crowd right here is looking to put some pressure right here on Ben Coulter. Devin was involved in the big crash and like many drivers has been working to try to regain the track position that he lost earlier in this race.
Ben Coltis in that number 13 slides up the track, and for a moment it looked like the door had been open for Devin Jack, but immediately the 15 of Coltis, or the 13, closes it right away. 2 different lines. Coltis looks a little bit more comfortable running one lane up, where Devin Jack seems to prefer that inside line. Coltis, you can see the momentum off the corner. That outside line carries with it a little bit extra energy on the later part of the corner. Coltis, for the moment, is going to pull away by about 2 car lengths. But a little bit further behind, 15th position, Dylan Potts finds himself fighting off Landon Brown and Cliff Adams in what is a battle for the 14th position here. And boy, the number 5 of Brown finds himself in a hornet nest, which Haley Moody has recently slipped back into. No Brad Nelson, 4 cars under a blanket right now.
Yeah, side-by-side action right here is intense. They're 3 wide right here. Oh, the 32 is way up the hill in the marbles right there. That's Brad Nelson, and that is no man's land to the extreme degree out there in those marbles right there. Battle still on right here between the 5 of Brown and the 2 of Potts. This is for the 13th position. And Ellis, I want to give a quick update. The drivers who have stayed out on track right here currently occupy 7 of the top 8 positions. So it seems like to me that these new tires haven't made any difference at all. We do have a significant development though. Richard Parks is in trouble.
The second place car, Richard Parks, finds himself in trouble up top. I see a lot of damage as a tire down on that 113 machine. He continues to bleed miles an hour down the front straightaway. What is going on, Chris? That right front looks like it has seen better days.
Yeah, I'm going back right here to see if I can figure out what might have happened right here to Richard. And yeah, it's kind of hard to tell. He has a moment right here in the corner. Yeah, it does kind of act like a right front went down, but it didn't behave like it at first. So yeah, that's that if the right front did go down, that's a significant development right there for a lot of these drivers.
We had just gotten done talking about how we weren't so concerned about tire wear, and suddenly, as if it was cued, second place might have potentially had a flat tire. We're going to work to see if we can't figure out what happened to Richard Parks, the second place runner, but the guy who wanted to see that most was Jaden Hopp, because Parks might have been the second fastest car and been one of the maybe 5-6 cars who might have something for Jaden Hopp tonight, at least for the win. We're going to have to wait for a while to see how this thing settles out, but boy, Chris, a big development indeed, and it's put Lewis Flowers into second place in that number 40 machine. Hell of a run for driver number 40. You can see started in the 16th position as it up to second place before the halfway point. And looking at lap times over the last lap, that number 40 was the quickest car on the track, at least quicker than the leader, Jaden Hopp, albeit by 1/100th of a second.
Yeah, unfortunately, Lewis Flowers had that penalty in his heat race and, had to get sent to the tail of the field, but he was running well before that penalty, and he charged up through the field. He gained more positions in that heat, passed more people than anybody else in either one of the heats. So I knew that car had some speed tonight after the heat race, just the unfortunate mistake that sent him to the back of the field, but yeah, he is charged up through the field and is running some very competitive lap times right there in that 40 machine.
I know we got some Flowers fans in the chat right now. Also got some folks rooting for Kenneth Gallman. We got Cam Gillens, producer Cam, rooting for the 56 and the 49. I know that is Devin Jack, and the 56 is Jacob Phillips. A couple fellow Slingshot racers. Connor Lyons also appreciate you. We know what you want. We're going to give it to you in a minute, buddy. Don't worry. Rye Jones in the chat with a little bit of love for us, Chris. Appreciate it, Rye. Good to see you in the chat. And Sarah Torsch rooting on that 19 and 13. Continuing to impress is the 13 of Ben Coltis in 10th position right now. And that 19 Torsch a little bit further back, but a top 20 run going for them. Hey, let's have a little bit of fun right now, Chris. We were playing around with this word scramble in pre-race. I've since reset it, so don't worry. But we're going to put a scrambled word up on the screen. I think I fixed it. We're going to put a scrambled word up on the screen, folks. Let us know what the word is. Let's go ahead and put something on the line. Let's give away that Eric Jones koozie for the first person who in the chat is able to get the correct unscrambled word. We'll go ahead and do that now. It should be on your screen. Let us know what that word should be. Let us know what that word should be. We're giving away that Eric Jones koozie, whether you are using it for an adult beverage or maybe just a cool Coca-Cola on a Saturday evening. Let us know what that unscrambled word is. Got a few answers coming into the chat already. Fourth position, Chris. Yeah, we're watching it. It is heated up as one car slipping back just a little bit sideways off the corner. And boy, I believe that was Jacob Phillips in that 56 who was struggling just a little bit there. But Ty Leclerc and Matt Dickerson, good little scrum going here for the third position.
Yeah, great battle going on right there for the third position, and we got a lot of action going on back behind those guys as well around Brandon Willard in the sixth position. Brandon Willard, Caleb Hunt. You've also got Randy Gross, Devin Jack. This is a little gaggle of race cars right here putting on a heck of a show. Caleb Hunt trying to do everything he can to get away from the fearless leader of Mystic Racing League, Brandon Willard, up ahead of him.
Brandon Willard with a good run going in sixth position right now. Caleb Hunt, an impressive seventh position. He's climbed 7 positions to get himself up to that 7th position after starting 14th tonight. Folks, the verdict is in. A couple of you got that correct answer in the chat. Sunshine is the correct answer. And that is going to go to, that koozie going to R.210. R.210. Let us know.
I know who that is.
Who is that? Don't dox him. Don't dox him. We'll talk later. But ssracingleagues@gmail.com.
He's one of our Slingshot regulars.
Oh, who is it?
That is, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that is Mr. Chase Berry.
Chase Berry. I'm not going to send it to him then. Never mind. No, I'm just kidding, Chase. We love you. We're going to send you that koozie. I know what you're going to be drinking out of it. Don't worry. It ain't going to be a Coca-Cola. You know how to get in touch with us, Chase, or R.10, as you're known on the interwebs here. Watching this battle, Caleb Hunt underneath Brandon Willard. This is a battle for the 6th position here on lap 84. Willard arcs it in on the top, doing everything he can to hold on to that 6th position.
Yeah, he is doing everything he can right here, but he might be in trouble right here going down into turn number 3. Got a host of cars lined up on the inside, so I'm willing to bet right here, Ellis, that Brandon is going to fight for everything that he's got right here to maybe try to, get a run off the corner, squeeze back in line somewhere. They get close. Caleb Hunt.
There goes Hunt. There goes Jack around. It was a battle for the 6 or 7 position that just turned into chaos on the backstretch and puts us under our 3rd caution of the night. And Chris, the action is the most dense up at the front right now. We just saw it cost a couple of the leaders.
Oh my gosh, we almost saw Caleb Hunt almost backed up right into the leaders right there. That could have been disastrous right there. Luckily they were able to avoid, but yeah, we'll go back right here to see right here. Yeah, and Caleb just got in the gas right there, up into the side of Brandon Willard, off the throttle as he spun sideways. Devin Jack could not avoid him. Unfortunately for Devin, he was an innocent bystander in that, and that track position that he gained in that 49 machine is, unfortunately, he's going to lose it. After the contact right there. We'll go back right here one more time and watch this, and I believe, we're riding on board with Devin Jack. He's got a great perspective into the corner. Yeah, Caleb gets back in the throttle right there. The car's just, you can see how it's just sliding up the hill right there, and when he got off the throttle, Devin was on his bumper and could not avoid him, and luckily it was just a 2-car incident.
Now, I am curious. I believe we are seeing the live pit stops for the leaders on the front straightaway. Jaden Hopp let him down. He's going to lead him off as well, but that's going to be the 5 and the 44. Landon Brown with, I believe, Chris, a 2-tire or no tire pit stop. Moves up to 2nd place on that. That's a gutsy call. Landon was one of the cars, I believe, that had maybe gotten tires earlier. So a little bit of a strategy call here for Landon Brown. This is going to be a really good little lesson for everyone on the track to see how these 2 cars, the leader and 2nd place, compare respectively on 2 different tire strategies.
Yeah, I can confirm that Landon Brown took 2 tires there on that pit stop, and he took left side tires because I believe he took right side tires earlier. This is, common occurrence on short tracks. You'll see 2-tire pit stops right here, kind of old school in a way right there. So, we'll have to see what the balance of that number 5 car looks like here on this restart. I'm trying to look for the number 44 machine of Matt Dickerson. And it looks like to me right here that he did take 4 tires, came off pit road 3rd. So That was a good stop right there for the 44 team. Haley Moody looks like she took 2 tires, took right side tires. She's going to roll off in the 6th position. So those 2 teammates, the 5 and the 50, are the only 2 on 2 tires. Looks like everybody else on 4 tires. Nobody elected to stay out, Ellis.
I think this is going to be interesting here. We'll be keeping an eye on the 5 and the 50. I know they got some fans rooting them on in the chat. ETD Inc. says, let's go Landon Brown. We're about to find out what Landon Brown's got. Starting on the outside against Jaden Hop. 2 sets of different tire strategies here. Hop on freshies all the way around. Brown on 2 right sides. They go side by side down into turn 1. We're green flag racing here on lap number 90. Brown hangs it tight on the outside, but he's not going to be able to hold on to that position. Gets a big run. Hop's going to give him the window on the top. Will Brown try to fight back? Meanwhile, Dickerson and Flowers work a battle side by side right behind them.
Yeah, Landon Brown with just those 2 left side tires. Doesn't quite have the grip to maintain position on the outside there, but he is able to get down in front of Matt Dickerson, who is going to clear Lewis Flowers for the 3rd spot.
Hop gets away by about 2 or 3 car lengths as they set sail down into turn number 3. Brown second, a little bit further back through the field. Big wad of cars, starting with, I believe, Ben Coltis in the 10th position. Coltis, and I believe that was the 09 of Carson Sherman, had contact. It then kept Coltis up the track. He's now working to the outside of, I believe that's Brad T. Nelson on the outside. That is in that 32 machine, and Coltis is in trouble, it looks like, Chris, on the outside there. Got up into the marbles, has to shake that loose rubber off those tires.
Yeah, he was banging down the front stretch with Carson Sherman right there, looking to get back to the inside right here, and he is able to do so in the 13 machine. Ben's right where he wants to be right here, side by side behind him. Yeah, Kenneth Gallman almost got squeezed into the wall right there by Dylan Potts. Had to cut him up a little bit of a break right there to get back in line. Side by side behind them, though, that is the battle between Ty Leclerc and Denner Jack.
And boy, that is a battle indeed. Jack on the outside, Leclerc on the inside. Not that F1 driver, but he's showing a lot of similar speed tonight. That is Ty Leclerc on the inside of Devin Jack. That currently is a battle for the, I believe, the 13th position. Lucky number 13, but both drivers want it right now. Meanwhile, Kenneth Gallman, Ben Coltis also doing battle in front of them with a lap down. Dylan Potts, 5 cars, all on top of each other right now. Kenneth Gallman in the sucker hole in the middle.
Yeah, Kenneth Gallman right here, unfortunately losing positions. Dylan Potts going to the inside. Ty Leclerc going to try to fill that gap to the inside right there. Kenneth Gallman wants to get the launch in. He's still side by side with Dylan Potts, so he can't squeeze down there behind the 2 machine right there. Going to try to roll the outside right here. Ellis, we've seen Kenneth Gallman in all kinds of short track action here on Slingshot TV. So we know that he knows how to get around these short tracks. We know that he knows how to maintain position on the outside, and he is fighting for all that he's got right here as they're sideways, banging doors right there off of turn 4.
That was a close one, but we got another close battle for the 3rd, I believe, 2nd position up front. That's the 5 of Brown, Matt Dickerson on the inside, and that number 44. They've been going on it, at it for the last couple of laps. Brown trying to continue to work that outside line to marginal success. Dickerson on the inside, we've talked about just how important that inside line is. Only a handful of cars have been able to really maintain position on the outside, but it does come at a cost of fresh tires, and we know Landon Brown already on this front at least at a slight disadvantage with right front tires only. Oh, into the wall, Brown, can he hold on to it? Drivers look left to the inside of Brown, who was sent careening up into the wall off of turn number 4. Everyone's clean and green so far, though.
Yeah, Brown is actually on just left side tires. Yeah, so yeah, his right side tires are old right here, and that is probably drastically affected the balance of that number 5 machine. Haley Moody has gotten around Landon Brown right here, moved into the 4th spot. Yeah, she's also on 2 tires, but I'm assuming that her balance is probably a little bit better right now than Landon Brown's is right here, with Landon taking left side tires. He's just trying to hang on right here, doing a nice job, but it looks like that car doesn't have the grip in the center of the corner that some of his competitors have. Brandon Willard right here looking to try to move up right here. You see right here, Landon Brown leaving a little bit of gap right there to the inside that Brandon Willard wants to try to fill.
And behind them, it's Cliff Adams, but Carson Sherman dives to the inside in that number 08. I believe it's that 9 machine on track right now. But Chris, this is an interesting development. I want to remind viewers, Sherman won one of those early heats and was impressive in the first portion of the evening. Had some damage in the big crash earlier, and suddenly he's back up into the top 7 now. Keep an eye on that Sherman machine, because I think he's going to be one to watch as we cross over the halfway point of the 3rd annual Gator Classic, and we got some comers and goers here.
Yeah, Sherman definitely on the march right here. Blinking a little bit right here in that number 9 machine. He's looking to the inside, wants to make it 3 wide, thinking about it. He thinks better of it. I think that was a good call right there, as Brandon Willard is still trying to work on the number 5 machine right here of Landon Brown. That little stack up right there is going to enable, I think that's Cliff Adams, yes, and the number 80 to look to the inside of Sherman. I know Carson Sherman right here is getting a little bit probably impatient because he feels like he's a little bit faster than these guys. I think he's doing a nice job right here of trying to maintain his position right here and try to wait for Brandon Willard to be able to complete this pass.
Chris, I don't know if anyone else noticed that little General George Sherman take you had on there with Sherman's March, but it was appreciated and it was noted on my part, history teacher to history teacher. That battle continues to intensify. Sherman lays siege to the number 43 of Brandon Willard, and that action has not dissipated at all. Sherman and Willard side by side down the front stretch into one. Contact incoming.
Yeah, Sherman was trying to wait for Brandon Willard, and yeah, just got a little bit impatient. Oh, one car sideways down to the inside. I think that's Cliff Adams in the number 80. Cliff's going to hold on to it. Great save right there. I think that if Brandon Willard wanted maybe Sherman to be a little bit more patient. We'll see right here if he returns it. Oh, he's going to. He's going to repay the favor right there. Short track action here in the Gator Classic.
Short track action has picking up Brandon Willard in the number 9 of Carson Sherman. No love lost there, and the number 5 of Landon Brown has to take evasive action to not be collateral damage, but one car to lead. That is the 56 of Jacob Phillips. Almost becomes a victim there of circumstances, and boy, things have picked up tonight, folks. If you are tuning in, we are just past halfway of the 3rd annual Gator Classic here on Slingshot TV, presented by Slingshot Racing League, and we have some tempers beginning to build just a little bit. It took 100 laps, but the red mist has started to flow here at USA International Speedway. Saw a little bit of a tussle there between Carson Sherman and Brandon Willard. Sherman kind of senses that the halfway mark has gone by, and he's got to move up through the field if he's going to have a chance to take the win tonight, Chris. What do you expect? Do you expect to see more of this as we move along through the final 90 laps or so?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see more of that right there that we saw right there. Yeah, our flagman right there, Brandon Willard, going to get the flag. I'm going to black flag that 9 machine if he's not careful. But yeah, that's just good short track racing right there. You know, so yeah, I'm not going to be a bit surprised at all if we see some more of that action going on here tonight. You know, these guys, you know, it happens here, you know, just you're in tight confines, short track, running really, really close together, everybody fighting from the bottom of the racetrack, and not the last bit of contact we're going to see, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think you are absolutely right. Watching a little battle between Brad T. Nelson, who's sandwiched in between Ty Leclerc and Kenneth Gallman. That's a battle currently for the 10th position, the final spot in the top 10. It's seen Gallman kind of chasing down the number 32 of Brad T. Nelson. And look at the difference in line there. You can see that number 97 of Nelson slowly kind of creeping towards the back bump of the 32, rotating a little bit better through the center of the corner, it would seem, is Gallman. But that kind of arced line is helping Brad T. Nelson off of the corners right now.
Yeah, that's Gallman right there gaining on, like trying to gain on the 32 right there of Nelson. Devin Jack behind him. We're seeing how difficult it is to charge up through the field right here for Devin Jack, who got turned around in the previous caution that we saw earlier in this race. We know that 49 car has a lot more speed than his running position right now. He's going right now for the 12th spot. Unfortunately, he's been collected in a couple incidents and has been trying to play catch-up for this entire race. He's going to work his way underneath Kenneth Dahlman, going to take that position right now. And meanwhile, up ahead of him, there is a hornet's nest around Landon Brown, Cliff Adams, Brandon Willard. There is a lot of action going on right here. Brandon Willard hung up on the outside.
And Brandon Willard now within about a paper's thickness between him and Cliff Adams on the inside. Willard's been caught up in a little bit of a melee earlier. Didn't really get a lot of damage, but you can see that has intensified his kind of determination here side by side with Cliff Adams. For Brandon Willard, he started 17th and is up 11th. 11 spots, one of the biggest movers tonight and one of the fastest cars we've seen on the track. But Cliff Adams has the run off of turn 4. He's going to try to transition that into a pass for the 6th position on the inside. It's a battle between 6 and 7 here.
I see what you did right there. It is a battle between 6 and 7. Brandon Willard in the 6th position. Cliff Adams in the 7th position. Landon Brown doing what he can right here on those 2 tires. He's kind of settled in nicely right here. Adams has a nose right here to the inside, peeking to the inside. Oh, and Brandon Willard overcharged the corner right there because he felt the pressure, and that is going to enable Cliff Adams to get right back to the door of the number 43 car. Oh, contact!
Contact between Brandon Willard and Cliff Adams, and Adams on the inside, Willard on the outside. Willard has to be just fuming in that cockpit right now as he has done battle with 2 drivers over the past 15 laps and found contact in both incidents. So right now, Willard doing everything he can to channel maybe a little bit of that anger into determination and grit as he holds on to that position. But boy, Cliff Adams isn't going anywhere. As he, boy, now Landon Brown to the inside of Cliff Adams, sees that opportunity, smells blood in the water, and now Landon Brown going to try to take advantage of that battle between those 2 in front of him. Down the back straightaway here on lap 120, 80 laps left here. They're ticking away fast.
They definitely are right here. This is the closest battle on the racetrack right here. We've got 6 cars. Throw a blanket under them right now, or over them, I should say. Landon Brown has settled in very nicely. It looks like that speed disadvantage he had for those 2 tires, that has kind of evened itself out right here. Cliff Adams looking to the inside again of Brandon Willard. Brandon Willard is doing a fantastic job right here, Ellis, of giving Cliff Adams just enough room to be able to get side by side, not giving him too much room to where the pass is easy, still making it difficult for him, but still giving him the room that he needs to run side by side. And what this has done is it's built a bit of a line behind Brandon Willard and Cliff Adams. 4 cars. That is contact between Adams and Willard. Can Adams hang on to it, or will he drive it back up on the track? He does hold on to it. What a save, but I don't think it's going to be good enough for Cliff Adams there, as he's going to lose 6 or 7 spots. Might have gotten a little bit of the wall, but that was a battle for 6th position that it seemed like had been going on for 7, 8 laps, and that was brewing at least for most of those laps. And yeah, look at the replay here. Yeah, we're going to go back right here. Just charging kind of deep right here, looking to complete this pass. Yeah, and you can see right there, he slid up slightly, but Brandon Willard was not giving him an inch right there entering the corner. Does make some contact with the inside wall. Not a lot of significant damage to the number 80 machine. He's going to be able to keep on going. Heck of a save right there by Cliff. He holds on to the race car right there, and yeah, he can continue battling here in the Gator Classic.
He's going to continue to do battle, finds himself further back in the pack. Currently your leader. We haven't talked about him in a minute because the midfield racing has been so incredible, but up front right now, it is Jaden Hopp. He has scored as your leader in that number 81 machine. Lewis Flowers in 2nd position is nearly a second behind. Jaden Hopp has been the class of the field since the heats earlier tonight, and he's continuing to do impressive work. Now 126 laps into this race, 5/8 of the way for the fans watching at home who prefer fractional lap counts, but Jaden Hopp really impressing so far in that 81 machine. He is currently scored as your leader. And Chris, let's talk about Lewis Flowers for just a minute in 2nd place. I know we got some Flowers fans in the chat. 14 spots. He is the biggest mover of the race. How difficult is it to do that in a race like this, at a racetrack that's only 3/4 of a mile long?
Yeah, you said it, Ellis. It is exceptionally difficult, especially in these cars, I think. We're seeing just how important track position is. It is extremely difficult to work your way through the field here tonight, and I think it just really speaks to the speed in this 40 car right here. He has lost some ground right here. I've been tracking some lap times here over the last few laps. It's not a significant disadvantage, but it is about 3-4 100ths for the last several laps, separating the 81 and the 40 lap time wise. But very, very impressive run right here for Lewis Flowers. If we do get a caution here with about 50 laps to go, Ellis, I just got to wonder here. I think it puts a lot of pressure on these guys right here to decide what they're going to do. Because if you take 4 tires and you have about 7 or 8 drivers who elect to take 2, man, that's going to put you pretty deep in the field, and I'm not sure if you have enough time to make up that track position.
Yeah, do you give up those spots with what we've seen tonight of how difficult it is to do what some of these drivers have done? How confident are you in your skills? How confident are you in your car? That is Chris French coming down pit road just in front of those guys. One thing I do want to mention, Chris, we're going to do a little bit more trivia here. Is much of the racing has kind of settled down. That Brandon Willard, I shouldn't say it's settled down, because right around 7th, 8th position, look at them. They are going at it like nobody's business here in Florida, like wrestling gators down in the swamp. And we've seen some wrestling matches so far tonight, and boy, this has been one of them. Brandon Willard seems to be in every one we've seen. He's just wrong place, wrong time, it seems, but boy, he's holding on to it. Caution is out on the speedway. We've got trouble. Let's see if we can find out where it was. And that was 99 Tom Lickert, Chris. I believe that 99 might have just took a licking.
Yeah, he did. You beat me to it. Yeah, he definitely had some trouble right there. And I think this is on entry to turn 1. Maybe has dialed some rear brakes. See, that car sideways right there off of turn 4. So a little bit of a loose condition starting on that number 99 car. And yeah, just kind of maybe overcharged the entry right there. Maybe got a little too much rear brake dialed into it. Turns the car sideways. Yeah, luckily not a lot of damage and really no damage at all on the 99 car. We did have a change for position. I want to mention that, Ellis, right before the caution waved right there. Carson Sherman, one of the fastest cars on the track, was able to get around Haley Moody to move up into the 4th spot. So Carson is on the move right here as we have some pit stops.
Pit stops on the way. It looks like the 44 of Matt Dickerson going to bring Haley Moody down with him, and several other drivers, it would seem, are making their way down pit road. Just 65 laps left here tonight from Lakeland at USA International. And boy, Chris, what do you make of what this decision does to those guys who did not come in? Hop, Flowers, Sherman, Jack.
Yeah, it looks like.
What do you make of this?
Yeah, it looks like the top 4 electing to stay out, and I think that is advantage tires. If we had about 8 cars stay out, 9 cars stay out, I think that would be advantage for the drivers who elected to stay out. But yeah, I think that we had enough drivers come to pit road right here where if they can get up through the field right here, I think that, that is a significant enough advantage. About 48 laps on the tires for these drivers who are currently still on track. I'm not surprised at all to see Devin Jack and Carson Sherman up there electing to stay out. They have dealt with their share of traffic tonight. I think they want to make sure that they can have some track position. But, yeah, we'll have to see how this plays out.
Yeah, it's going to be wildly entertaining for these last 65 laps or so. Folks, if you're just joining us, we are glad you found us. If you've been watching all night long, we hope you enjoy the racing action that you've seen. A couple comments in the chat. We've got folks rooting on Haley Moody. We got some Landon Brown fans. Stain Pink rooting on that number 81 machine of Jaden Hobbs. So Hobbs has some fans in here tonight. And, yeah, ETD Inc. is definitely rooting on that number 50-5 machine. I think we ought to do a little bit of trivia, Chris. Let's go ahead and ask the fans some trivia questions right now. I believe we're not getting the one to go, are we?
We did get the one to go.
Okay, we'll hold off. Right, we'll have an opportunity. Don't worry, there's more trivia coming, and we're going to give away that Eric Jones t-shirt with this trivia question coming up a little bit later. So make sure you are around for that John Hunter Nemechek t-shirt giveaway. This battle for the lead is about to pick up. It's going to be Hop on the inside, Lewis Flowers on the outside, and then don't count out Carson Sherman, who's continued his march through the field in third, with Devin Jack in fourth on the outside. Here we go. Jaden Hop gets him going here on lap 138 of 200 in the Gator Classic. It's going to be Flowers and Sherman battling top and bottom here through turns 1 and 2 they go. Advantage Lewis Flowers and Sherman. How did they not crash down the back straightaway? Can they rejoin? The answer is yes, but it's going to stack the field up. Chris, how did we avoid disaster there?
Some amazing driving, and I have to wonder if the blinking from the 9 machine of Carson Sherman, he blinked right about the same time that the contact occurred, if that maybe just, a little bit of misjudgment right there, possibly was a result of that blinking that we saw from that number 9 machine. Battles on all over the track right here. We've got Brandon Willard fighting it out right here with Ty Leclerc. This is a battle going on for the 8th position.
The battle for 8th picks up. That is Leclerc and Willard. Leclerc on the inside, working his way by. Now trying to get by Jacob Phillips, while Brandon Willard trying to hold off the number 44 of Matt Dickerson. We've seen those two cars do battle earlier in this race. We'll see if that continues on here on lap 141, single file, but they are nose to tail. Jaden Hop is really the only car that's got a little bit of breathing room here. He's your leader. Flowers and Jack are second and third, but the Pied Piper of the big line behind him currently is the 09 of Carson Sherman in 4th position, who's worked his way back up to 4th position, I should say, after what was just almost potentially a race-ending collision down the backstretch about 5 laps ago. And boy, Chris, I think we're going to have a wild finish here, so these fans should not go anywhere.
No, they should not right there. I'm keeping my eyes right there on the 9 and the 50. The 9 of Carson Sherman, the 50 of Haley Moody. Those cars were banging doors earlier down the front stretch right there. Sherman was able to hold off Haley Moody, but she has a little bit of a tire advantage right here. Pretty significant tire advantage. She is actually the first one on fresh tires right here. It looks like she took just 2 tires. And also Landon Brown just took 2 tires. Those teammates, along with Jacob Phillips, they have the track position on the drivers who elected to take 4 tires. So they're trying to work their way around Carson Sherman right here, but we know the speed that the 9 has had all night. This is not going to be an easy pass.
Not an easy pass indeed. One other pass going on, 11th and 12th. That's Cliff Adams and Brad Nelson back in the 12th position. It's a battle for 11th. Currently, Cliff Adams on the inside trying to regain that position, but Brad Nelson on the outside trying to have something to say about it. Almost contact down the backstretch as they head down into turn number 3. Nelson climbs the banking a little bit. Cliff Adams is going to take that spot uncontested, at least for the moment. Will Brad Nelson fight back, move Adams up to the 11th spot?
Yeah, great job right there. Oh, Adams going to tag the wall right there. Brad's going to follow him into it right there. Like several cars actually hit the wall right there off of turn 2. Not some significant damage right there. Just typical short track action right there. As Ellis, I hate to bring the attention away from this, but I'm going to have to because the action is very intense up here around Jacob Phillips and Ty Leclerc. They were side by side. It looks like they just got it sorted out right here. Oh, yeah, it looks like Jacob Phillips almost into the back right there of Landon Brown. Got to wonder right here. This looks like the 9 machine might be holding this whole crowd up right here. Jacob Phillips going to peek to the inside right here of Landon Brown. This is a battle for the 6th spot.
That's a battle going on for 6th position. Phillips in 7th, looking for the 6th position from Landon Brown in that 5 machine right now. We've seen these sorts of battles go awry multiple times this evening, but Landon Brown's going to prevent that from being the case this time by sliding up the track. Both drivers giving each other plenty of room here on lap 149, reaching the final 8th of this race, or the final quarter of this race, I should say, with just 50 laps remaining. They're going to be a quick 50 here as we continue to watch Landon Brown lose spot after spot. This time he's going to be losing it, I believe, to the number 33 of Ty Leclerc. So Brown falling back several spots here over the last couple of laps. And it's kind of been an up and down sort of night from Landon Brown. His has been as high, I believe, as the second position, but has been as low as a little bit further back in at least the 15th position. So this has been a multiple kind of peaks and valleys night for Landon Brown, but right now still inside the top 10 for driver number 5. And you mentioned it, Chris, Carson Sherman, the driver kind of leading this pack. I'm wondering, as Jacob Phillips almost gets in the back of Haley Moody there, how kind of trepidatious are you as a driver if you've seen Carson Sherman kind of blinking out? Obviously, it's nothing Carson's doing on purpose or can help at this moment. How kind of cautious are you to try to make that pass and get too close to that number 9 headed into a corner?
Yeah, it's definitely something that you have some concerns about. It's definitely something that you've had your eyes on the whole race. Contact! Big crash!
Sherman, Phillips, Brown, and Brandon Willard somehow makes it through what was a 4-5 car accident on the front straightaway on lap 152. And Chris, we said it. It had been brewing for at least a couple laps. Let's see if we can't figure out what happened through turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, Carson Sherman was kind of holding this whole crowd up right here a little bit. That car's had speed all night, but Haley Moody, Jacob Phillips, those cars are on fresher tires here, and man, it's just some difference in center of the corner speed right there. Haley Moody gets into the back of that number 9 machine of Carson Sherman, turns him around. Jacob Phillips, Landon Brown involved. I saw Ty Leclerc spinning to the inside right there. There's Ty in the 33. Several cars involved right there. Not a ton of significant damage. We're able to keep on going for a lot of these machines. We're going to go back right here. I think we're going to ride on board with Ty, show you his perspective of this. He went for a wild ride. He was about the 4th car back in this deal. There goes Haley Moody around. There goes Carson. And it launches that car up into the air. A wild ride for Ty Leclerc in the 33.
How about that? Now, this does set up a question of pit stops. Does this give the opportunity? Do you come down as a leader? And the answer seems to be no at this point. Not willing to give up that track position, Chris.
Yeah, I think that if you are Jaden Hopp, if you are Lewis Flowers, if you are Devin Jack, yeah, you've got a lot of laps on your tires right here, about 68 laps on your tires. A couple of caution flags, I think, on these tires now. Also, I think that you've kind of made your bed and you gotta lay in it now. I just don't think that you come back to pit road because, I mean, you know how this thing's going to get probably in the closing stages. You know the caution flags that you're going to get. So yeah, I think that they're probably going to be, staying on track for the rest of this race. One thing I want to mention, Ellis, look right here. This is a good chance to look at it. Look at the marbles. We have had some significant marble buildup here over the course of 155 laps, and it has made the groove extremely. Look at turns 1 and 2 right here. It has made the groove extremely, extremely narrow. Look into the inside right there. You cannot dip a tire either low or high into those marbles. We see some drivers run through it. If I'm on the radio, I'm saying, please don't. Please don't. Yeah, it is. Not all drivers can see them. Some drivers have their graphics set where they can't see them as well. So that is something right there that, is going to make the groove a lot more narrow.
Speaking of obstacles on the track, they're going to give him one more lap. You can sort it out. Some comments in the chat right now. We got HT379 wanting us to show, I believe, asking for the 43 car, which is currently Brandon Willard. We've been showing the 43 all night. He's working his way up through the field right now, getting his spot back. 1 to go. We'll go ahead and do some trivia. We'll put it up on the board. Folks, let us know what the answer to this question is. In 2017, which Florida road course had to halt a practice session after a 10-foot alligator crawled onto the track? And that's the Homestead Road Course, Sebring International, or the Daytona Road Course. What road course had to halt practice after a 10-foot alligator found their way onto the track? Right now, those drivers having to avoid those rubber alligators on that outside line, that cushion, as the rubber buildup, the marbles have increased, and right now your front row of Hop and Flowers on the outside, Hop on the inside, as we ride on board here on the restart. It's going to be Hop getting the jump, the Hop on the rest of the field, so to speak. with Lewis Flowers now trying to hold off a hard-charging Devin Jack. We're watching on board with Hop looking back at the battle for second as they work their way down the back straightaway. Flowers wins that battle. Jack's going to slide into third, but meanwhile behind them, Leclerc and Phillips find themselves side by side in a battle for fourth.
Yeah, the battle is on for the fourth position, and the battle is on through the rest of the field. You got the 32 machine of Brad Nelson trying to look to the inside of Matt Dickerson. He's not able to get there, though. They get it sorted out right here. We're still side by side. Oh, and it looks like one car trying to squeeze down to the bottom up ahead of these guys. That might have been Jacob Phillips. He's not able to do so. Phillips still side by side right here with Ty Leclerc as they cross the start-finish line.
Just 41 laps left here from Central Florida at USA International Speedway. The third annual Gator Classic. We're under caution. The 44 and the 80, as well as one more car. The 19 of Torsch finds himself in trouble down the back straightaway. A caution that erupted in chaos on the exit of turn number 2. We'll see if we can't find out what happened there with Cliff Adams, as well as another car working their way around.
Yeah, the contact is going to start around the 32 car, Brad T. Nelson. Brad T. Nelson up ahead of this crowd right here. He's in that Firehouse Subs car. He's going to try to peek to the inside. Yeah, he's going to make contact. Yeah, that one right there didn't quite have the position, didn't quite have the hole right there. Got his left sides down on the apron, made some contact with Matt Dickerson. Matt did a great job of holding on to it. Cliff Adams is an innocent bystander right there. That was like Dylan Potts, also another car involved. He's going to get some significant damage on the A&W machine. Kenneth Gallman also getting some significant damage. And you mentioned as well, Ellis, I think that was the 19 car that was also involved.
Yep,
that is Joshua Torsch, yeah, also caught up in that.
Kenneth Gallman has a view of a race car you never really want, and that is the underside of the gearbox back in the back of these things. That you can see that right, that front end of that number 97 is torn up. Hey, folks, we asked you in the chat, 2017, which Florida track had to halt a practice session after a 10-foot alligator crawled on the track? The answer, Chris, did you know this one?
I actually did not. I had a guess, but I didn't know it for sure.
It is indeed Sebring International Raceway.
Would have been my guess.
Yeah, I think it would have a pretty solid guess, I would say. And that lots of folks got that. McFall Motorsports was the quickest one on that. Good job, McFall Motorsports. Juno Volante got one right on his birthday. Adam Holson, Cam Gillens. HT379, man, you are very demanding. We are loving the interest here. Want to see the 78 view on that wreck. This HT379. Calling the shots here. Can we get a view? I believe that was the 78 of Caleb Hunt.
I believe that I can show that crash right here. If we want to go double wide right here, I can possibly show that crash right here. This is Caleb Hunt in the 78 machine right here, riding on board in the right side passenger seat, riding right behind Kenneth Gallman. Crash breaks out right in front of me. He splits the gap up the middle right there. A great job by Caleb Hunt to avoid disaster.
That's a good call by HT379, looking for that replay. Good cue up there. Hey, Johnny, I think, without even Connor asking for it recently, you know what time it is. I think it might be a good time for a crank it up here from these 500 horses as we get ready to go green. We're going to let the booth breathe for just a minute as they work their way down the backstretch. You're going to hear just how loud these cars are on this 3/4 mile short track, this bull ring in Central Florida in Lakeland. It's USA International Speedway. We're going to do a crank it up on this restart. It's going to be Jaden Hopp and Lewis Flowers. They're your front row. And they work their way through turns 3 and 4. You can see the flagman waving or holding that green flag. There it is. We're green flag racing once again. caution back out here at USA International. See if we can't find out what put us under caution for the 6th time tonight here on lap 148. Potentially looking for any cars around on the track. Not sure if I can see anybody.
Yeah. It is Joshua Torch is the first one around. Yeah, and I think that was after some contact possibly with Chris French in the 53 machine. Yeah, looked like he was kind of struggling underneath Randy Gross right there, was trying to not slide up into Randy right there off of the corner, kind of got out of the gas, and I think maybe surprised Chris French a little bit. Unfortunately, some contact from behind from the 53 sends the 19 around, and yeah, unfortunately, Brad Nelson was caught up in that, and I think maybe Dylan Potts also received some front-end damage. Yeah, he actually hits Joshua Torch as they go by right there. This is a great perspective right here, riding on board with Randy Gross right here. I believe that this is Randy Gross. Yeah, it is right here because there's Chris French. Yeah, and there's that contact you see, and there goes that 19 car up in the air.
And again, we've seen some carnage out here tonight, but overall, Chris, really great racing. Just very impressive. Only 6 cautions over the course of nearly 200 laps. A short track like this, pretty darn impressive. They've made this race easy to call. Appreciate Takes Hella in the chat saying kick ASS broadcast. Appreciate that. Also, Cam Gillen's in the chat, rooting on some drivers. Folks, who are you rooting for tonight? Or just maybe more importantly, who do you think is going to win? Has anyone got anything for Jaden Hunt? Does Lewis Flowers, Devin Jack, Jacob Phillips, Tyler Clark, any of the top 5? Do they have anything? Let us know who you think's going to win or who you're rooting for. Type their name or number down in the chat, and we'll root them on with you, folks. Now just 32 laps left here, and they are going to go by in an instant. Probably, I would say maybe we're down to the final 10 minutes of racing here in Lakeland, and what is going to be an incredible finish. If you are just tuning in, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We do this every single week, and we do it multiple nights a week with different leagues. So make sure you hit the subscribe button, get notified every time we go live and do this. We do giveaways on a regular basis. A lot of times they're die-cast. Tonight we're giving away that Eric Jones, or John Hunter Nemechek t-shirt. You can see it down there. It's kind of a small view of this t-shirt. It's a better looking t-shirt than the image shows, but it's a good looking t-shirt. We gave away that Eric Jones koozie a little bit earlier, and I would say we'll probably announce the winner of that t-shirt maybe the next 10-15 laps or so. Got those comments rolling in. The number 9, we got McFall Motorsports rooting on the number 9 machine as they work their way through the corner, getting ready for the restart. And pace car is going to make their way down pit road here. It's going to be Hop and Flowers on the restart. Hop gets the jump. Flowers in second, but he's got to hold off Devin Jack. Jack and Flowers make contact. This one's going to be a field killer. Gallman in it. Couple other cars as well. Caleb Hunt, the 32 of Brad Nelson. Steve Vest finds his way around it as well. And my goodness, that did not take long. The intensity is picking up, Chris.
Yeah, and we had a separate incident after the crash had occurred. It looked like Jacob Phillips and Devin Jack wrecked on the backstretch after the crash happened. We'll go back and watch that right there. The initial contact's going to happen right here. The 40 and the 49 make contact to the entry of the corner right there. Ty Leclerc also involved. Jacob Phillips came off the wall and hooked Devin Jack, and Devin Jack went for a wild ride. I think the caution flag was already out right there, so that was a very, very unfortunate crash right there that occurred. It looked like to me that Jacob Phillips was in the wall right there and possibly didn't have much control of the car, as maybe had a little bit of right front damage after making some contact with the wall. He was up there in that loose rubber. There's the contact right there that caused the caution right there. Looks like Devin Jack slid up into the 40 machine right there of Lewis Flowers. Very unfortunate for Lewis after a great recovery drive tonight. There's Caleb Hunt getting turned around. Brad T. Nelson piling into him. Yeah, a lot of drivers. Oh, look at Steve Vest snaking his way through there. Great job right there out of the driver of the number 60. We followed him in the heat right there. He has had one impressive night tonight. Currently right now, just stayed out of trouble, Ellis, up into the 12th position right here, riding on board with the 60 machine.
Got some folks commenting in the chat. Jacob Phillips has some fans. Gino Volante rooting him on his birthday. Tasic YT says 43 is going to win this race. Time to dig. ETDINC91 says, Adam Holson says the 40 is going to steal the win here. Straight Stain Pink rooting on Hop. That Jaden Hop in the 81, who's been the dominant car in the field tonight. Holly Mentikoff says 13, go Ben. Go Ben. And she's talking about Ben Coultis there in that number 13 machine. Ben currently sitting in the 9th position with a top 10 going. Take Hella. Oh man, that seals it for the 81. So Take Hella maybe thinking that that was a good development for the 81. Some of the stiffest competition maybe taken out there. And I know Jacob Phillips and Brandon Willard not going to like that comment because they're like, what about me? But also comments about some touchy restarts. Indeed, and thanks for the subs, Scalene Squid. And I think we can go ahead and, before this green flag, we want to make sure we don't have any distractions for the final part of this race. Going to go ahead and award that T-shirt. Your winner for the T-shirt, that is the John Hunter Nemechek T-shirt. That is going to be ETDINC91. You can email us at ssracingleagues@gmail.com. That is in the chat to claim your T-shirt prize. Email us and let us know you won to claim your prize. Right now, these drivers are looking to claim the Gatorhead Trophy prize with just 25 laps left. Saturday night short track shootout is underway. Hop takes the lead, no problem, but the battle's on for second. Willard and Leclerc side by side. Willard drives it down, one car sideways. The 49 Sherman. Carson, I believe, Dickerson in the crash as well. And that's going to be another caution. Now caution number 7. As you can tell, the pay window has opened here in Lakeland, and that started between Sherman and I believe the 44 there.
Yeah, that's Carson Sherman in the 9 right there, kind of looking to get back on the throttle right there. Matt Dickerson up in front of him, just difference in center of the corner speed right there, and he charged into that 44 right there. Turned the 44 around right there. Looks like Ben Coultis into the back of Carson Sherman right there. Man, Randy Gross does a heck of a job to hold on to his car right there, keep it straight. And he's still going right here on the track, currently in the 6th position. Great job right here by Randy.
Indeed, Randy Gross with a run of a life coming here in 6th position, up 12 spots. Brad T. Nelson up 15 spots. They're two of the biggest movers. And Chris, what I'm looking at now in the top 8, a lot of these drivers started further back in the field and have kind of persevered and shown some grit and determination as we watch what was a chaotic, energetic crash there on the backstretch. And look at old Randy Gross working his way through there. No big deal. Let us know what driver you think is going to win. Did that caution maybe cost your driver, or did it cement your pick for the winner? Let us know in the chat right now. Lenny Brown congratulating ETDINC on winning that T-shirts, and Take Hella says a few lucky ones from the last caution going to get their positions back. I think you might be right. And hey, we got a grandpa watching. Jaden Hop being rooted on by grandpa in the chat says we are all proud of you, number 81. So love it, love it. The family's tuning in here. We're glad you found us, folks. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, it is the best and easiest and the cheapest free way of supporting our channel. Just hit that button, doesn't cost you anything. And also give that thumbs up button a click as well. That thumbs up button, get some likes on this thing. There you go. Help support the channel. We love doing this, and we love interacting with y'all in the chat. It's what really makes these broadcasts special for us at home. And Chris, this is going to be 20 laps. 20-lap shootout that is going to see Hop, Leclerc, Willard, Brown, and Jack, as well as a few other drivers outside the top 5, maybe have a chance to take home the Gatorhead Trophy tonight. And just to let you folks know what's on the line, first, second, and third do get trophies, but they're varying sizes. The biggest one obviously going to first place, and it is going to be an exact 20-lap shootout here. Chris, who you think's in the best position to take it home?
I definitely want to be in the lead. I want to be Jaden Hop. I want to be as dominant as Jaden has been all night right here, and yeah, I want to make them take it away from me if I'm him. So I feel like he's in the best spot right here, but he's definitely not safe.
The field sets sail once again. Green flag out. 20 laps left here at USA International Speedway in Lakeland, Florida. The third annual Gator Classic here on Slingshot TV. One call, Slingshots into the wall. We're still green flag racing. That, I believe, was the number 50. Caution is not out on the racetrack. Still green. I could have sworn I saw the pace car peel off for a second. Hobb gets away cleanly. You can see the field slinking down that front straightaway like an alligator. Second place, Ty Leclerc trying to hold off a hard-charging Brandon Willard in that red machine in third place.
Yeah, Brandon Willard right here. We've had our eyes on him a lot tonight. He is charging deep into turn 3 right here. Got that car rolling really nicely right there around the yellow line right there. Digging for position right here. Trying to get up to that second spot right there. Ty Leclerc. Meanwhile, up in front of them, Jaden Hopp has gotten off to a nice jump right here. Got a good advantage. Liking what he's seeing, and that's just a building gap behind him, from first place to second place.
All right, Jaden Hopp, I know he's got some fans. I want to make a correction. It's Daddy. Daddy's in the chat rooting on Jaden. Appreciate you tuning in. And, this is, Chris, I think we're in for an exciting 15-lap shootout here. Top 5 as they run. Hopp, Leclerc, Willard, Brown, and Jack. Randy Gross sitting in the 6th position. The battle really right now is for 2nd position. Make that 3rd position because Brandon Willard has a car looking to the inside. That is Landon Brown. Thought about making that move, but is going to at least wait another lap. A little bit further back, Devin Jack trying to hold on to that 6th position. I should say the 5th position from Jacob Phillips. That's a battle for the 5th and 6th position.
Yeah, battle on right there between 5th and 6th. Behind them, you've also got around the 7th position right there, Jacob Phillips. He is looking inside. He is trying to peek underneath Lewis Flowers right there. The fight is on right there. Looks like Jacob looking to the outside of Lewis Flowers, trying to get the run, trying to get the momentum right here. He has position right here off of turn 4. Looking to pass Lewis the hard way here. That 56 car is showing some muscle.
The best 2 battles on the track right now are battles for position 6 or 7. I'm not sure which one to focus on right now, but we're watching both as they work their way down the front straightaway. That is that is Jack, that is Phillips that you're watching. That's the first set of cars battling. Phillips is going to hold on to it for now as he channels that one lane up kind of strategy, or at least late arc into the corner. He works his way up or stays in the 7th position, seeing if he can't chase down Randy Gross. But another battle, that is Landon Brown and Brandon Willard. That battle has been one going on for the past 4 or 5 laps, and Brown just cannot clear Brandon Willard there.
Yeah, Brandon Willard was fighting to get back to the inside right there, fighting really, really hard to try to squeeze between Landon Brown and Devin Jack. He was able to do so right there because he recognizes how important it is to have that position, not get hung out on that outside lane right there. Devin Jack, what a night Devin has had right here. He's going to peek to the inside. Nothing doing right there, entering turn 1 right there. But a nice recovery tonight out of Devin Jack after all of his troubles that he's had.
A nice recovery indeed. Cars working their way through turns 3 and 4. Most everyone single file at this point. Just about 10 laps remaining here for Jaden Hopp. Having a run of a lifetime here in Central Florida. He's been the dominant car all night long. But Landon Brown and Ty Leclerc, 2nd and 3rd, doing everything they can to give him a run for his money in this closing window of the race. But time is running out so far. 9 laps remaining here on Slingshot TV, and it is a similar pace. You can see it there between Leclerc and also Brown. So right now, those 2 cars evenly matched, Chris, but Brandon Willard, that battle for 4th position, still not going away at all. These 2 cars have been at each other's throats for the past 10 laps or so since the restart.
Yeah, they definitely have right here as Devin Jack is doing all he can right here. Oh, nice run right here. A nice late apex right there out of Devin Jack. He has positioning right here entering turn 3. A masterful job to get the run right there off the corner. And I think Brandon Willard's going to have a really difficult time right here holding off the driver of the 49. Though Brandon gets a nice launch off of turn 4. A good job by him, but he is way too high right there into turn 1. Put Devin Jack right here up into the 4th spot.
Up to the 4th spot as they work their way by the lap car. Brad Nelson up top. Can Brandon Willard use that to his advantage? The answer is maybe, but not quite this lap. He does maybe channel a crossover move. Here on the number 49 to the inside, it's Brandon Willard. Scoots up the track just a little bit, but they avoid contact, at least for the time being. The 49 of Jack has the momentum as they race down the straightaway, down into turns 3 and 4. Now with just 6 laps remaining in the 3rd annual Gator Classic, Jaden Hopp up to a 2-second lead, far in front of the field, but boy, right behind them, Flowers and Gross, almost contact. Look at the battle going on. Flowers and Gross, more contact there. Gross 7th.
And we might be able to go side by side right here to keep our eye on this. And meanwhile, there is a battle going on here for the 2nd spot. Battle between both Ty Leclerc and Landon Brown. Landon Brown has gotten to the inside, though Ty Leclerc is making the outside work right here off of turn 2. A great job out of the 33 car to get that launch on corner exit right there. He is under a lot of pressure right here from Landon Brown in the number 5.
Landon Brown, that driver who started in 11th place, fighting the driver who started back in 15th, one of the biggest movers of the night, Ty Leclerc. He showed his ability to move through the field. He's got 1 spot left to win the race. Can he get there? Time is running out. He's just trying to hold on to 3rd position. Right now, that white and blue number 5 dives to the inside. You're also seeing the battle go on a little bit further back behind them. Randy Gross, Chris French, and Lewis Flowers also doing battle here down the back straightaway, I should say the front straightaway. Now just 2 laps remaining for Jaden Hopp. He is your leader. This time by, Hopp will be coming to the Whiplash Simcams white flag. He is your leader. That number 81, the man in black and pink tonight, has made it look easy. He won the heat, which won him the pole. And right now he's 1 corner away from winning the 3rd annual Gator Classic at Lakeland International Speedway. He's your winner tonight, but the battle for 2nd, it's going to go to Leclerc by about a foot over Landon Brown. That is your top 3. Chris, what a finish for 2nd.
Yeah, what a great finish, and what a great job by both those drivers. Landon Brown peeking to the inside right there of Ty Leclerc. Those drivers race really hard and really clean all the way to the checkered flag. You love to see it right here. Great finish in the Gator Classic.
Great finish in the Gator Classic. Everyone just trying to catch their breath after what was a wild and just rough and tumble kind of night for these drivers, but they have made it work. We're going to wait for these drivers to get into position so we can hear from the top 3 finishers. I'm just making sure our race controller knows to get them in there. And boy, we had a lot of fun with you folks watching at home tonight. Don't forget, we do this every single week, multiple times a week, multiple different leagues, multiple different cars. And look at that burnout from young Jaden Hopp with his family watching in the grandstands. He's your winner tonight at USA International Speedway here in Lakeland. And I think maybe we'll see if we can get the 3rd place finisher Landon Brown in here. Give me 1 second.
I know that we have our 2nd place finisher Ty Leclerc. Looks like he's in the Discord right here. We'll see if we can get our other 2 podium finishers here as well.
Yeah, we'll give them just a second. Folks, what did you think about that race so far? All 200 laps and the heats and the last chance qualifier. Let us know you enjoyed it in the chat, whether you enjoyed seeing your driver win or maybe your driver finished a little bit further back. We're glad that you joined us tonight, and I believe we're going to go ahead and see if, yeah, we've got them all there. Let's go ahead and pull in Landon Brown. He's your 3rd place finisher. Hey, Landon Brown, this is Ellis, Chris, and Johnny up in the Slingshot TV booth. You got a copy, driver number 5?
Yes, sir, I sure do.
Hey, man, well, quite a drive for you tonight. It was kind of a night of ups and downs. Pit strategy swung you both directions in the field. First of all, talk to us about, let's just start with the very end there, that race between you and Tyler Leclerc to the line. You raced each other cleanly. What was it like inside that race car in those final couple of laps?
Oh, yeah, it was super exciting, you know, and Ty raced me clean. I just props to him for that. But, yeah, I know we didn't really have anything for the leader, So I was just going to try to make the most out of it. I ran a little high in 1 and 2 to try to get a run off. I think I had better tires than what Ty had. And I think I could have beat him to the line. Probably could have got the spot if I'd have done that a lap earlier. But it was super fun, and I don't know even how to describe it. Just the adrenaline, it gets you going.
Yeah, it got us going up in the booth for sure. I want to talk to you about tire strategy. Kind of varied for you with some of the leaders at the different parts of different junctures of the race. Do you think you made the right call of pitting when you did?
I think I did, and I just want to give a shout out to Haley Moody, my teammate for this race. I was about to make a mistake there, taking 4 tires. And she told me I should probably take rights, so I listened to her, and she was right. So I got to give props to her. But yeah, we and her were just discussing pit strategy throughout the race, because we didn't want to go laps down taking 4 tires. So it all depended on when the cautions fell and where we were at in the field. So I was just lucky to make the good decisions.
Well, man, from someone who, another guy who also relies on their teammate for every piece of pit advice they can get. I appreciate that teamwork there. Before we let you go celebrate that 3rd place finish here, you're going to get a small little Gator Head trophy that you'll be able to put on your shelf. Make sure you tag SRL League and Slingshot TV and send us some pictures of that in the Discord once you get it in the mail. But before we let you go celebrate, you got any shout outs for anyone watching at home?
Oh yeah, I just got to thank my mom and dad. I think they're watching. Grandparents are watching. I got some other family and friends that's watching, so shout out to all of them. And of course, shout out to Eastern Technical Design. They helped me out a ton with sponsorship. And Leadfoot TV, Caudal Chassis, Justin Brooks Design for this killer paint scheme I got to run. This is my first race with it, so it's brought us good luck so far. And just got to thank Caudal Chassis, Haley Moody, and Haley Moody Racing.
And did a great job tonight. Go celebrate that with your friends. Landon Brown, 3rd place finisher tonight here in Lakeland. All right, Chris, I believe you caught up with our 2nd place finisher, Ty Leclerc.
And let's bring him in the booth right here. Our 2nd place finisher, Ty Leclerc. This is Chris, Ellis, and Johnny in the Slingshot booth. You got a copy?
I do.
First off, Ty, I want to make sure we're pronouncing your last name correctly. Is it Leclerc?
It is.
All right, cool. Hey, we thought so all night, so we got that one right for sure. Hey, great run tonight in that 33 car. When I think about your night, man, you had great speed right there at the end, but what a night of perseverance. We saw you caught up in a couple incidents tonight, that really big track blocking incident. We saw you get spun around pretty wildly also. But, man, you persevered tonight, and you kept that thing on track and brought it home 2nd, man. How's it feel?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a whirlwind of a night. Didn't have a great qualifying effort. Started, middle of the road in the heat. I got into an incident in the heat. I lost some power, so I couldn't really do anything. So I don't even know where I finished 8th. So started 15th, not great, not terrible. So obviously had to go somewhere and try to go somewhere quick. But, it's tough to try to move through a field while saving your tire. And, no, but I'm glad we were there at the end. That last incident, whenever it was, I kind of got, sandwiched between 2 cars. And I lost power again. So I was trying to block every lane I could and hang on for 2nd. I honestly can't believe the 5 car didn't get me. But, I'll take 2nd. Obviously, thank you to Slingshot for putting the event on. I'm glad I could do it. And, definitely going to try to make it back next year.
You guys had one heck of a battle right there to the line right there. It was so awesome to watch. Got to ask you about tires tonight. You had about 65 laps on your tires right there. Did it seem like, taking tires, because that was a big, talking point during the race. Did it seem like taking tires, did that have much of an advantage for you out there, having fresh rubber, or was track position more important?
It depends because I felt like the track kind of narrowed up a little bit. The top lane was getting better, and if they could pinch you down far enough, you couldn't get past them. So, I mean, obviously that last run, Jaden had worse tires than I did, and he was much faster. So it couldn't have mattered that much. But personally tonight, I think I would have taken the track position just because of how my night went. But I could also see the argument for tires.
Hey, man, you definitely overcame all kinds of adversity tonight and had one heck of a finish right there across the line. And hey, you're going to be taking home one of the Gator trophies tonight. So yeah, that's going to be that's cool, and we hope that you'll definitely share pictures of that trophy when you receive it. And before we let you go celebrate this podium finish here tonight, you have any shout outs for the folks watching at home?
I do have one shout out, Janie Welding and Fabrication. They are the big sponsor. That's the family business, and always got to make sure I give them a shout out when I can.
Man, congratulations on a great run tonight, and congratulations on a great second place finish. And we'll look forward to talking to you again, maybe sometime down the road.
Absolutely, thank you guys.
Yes, sir.
All right, that leaves one driver to hear from, the winner tonight. We've caught up with Jaden Hopp, winner tonight here at Lakeland, here at USA International. It's Ellis, Chris, and Johnny in the Slingshot booth. Jaden, you got a copy, brother.
Yeah, I got you. Nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet you. Well, man, you made quite the first impression tonight. You were the dominant car all night long, whether we're talking about the heats, whether we're talking about just the start, the middle part, the finish of the race. What did you have going for you in that 81 that really made you the dominant car tonight? You just love this track, or did you just have the car hooked up?
I think I just had the car hooked up. I'll be completely honest with you. I'm not much of a short track racer, and this is only my second time in the car. I'm surprised I was able to figure it out that well, all things considered, but yeah, we were able to get it to hook around the bottom very well. I found a line that worked out perfectly for me.
Man, just describe the energy. I know you were out front a lot of the time, but there was a lot of beating and banging out there, intense racing. Did you find yourself mired in any of that at any point?
No, I don't think so. I think for me, it was pretty much a perfect race all around. I don't think I was really ever not in the lead tonight. Good thing for that too. I'm not sure what I would have done. But
track position could have changed it all, right?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't know how to pass with these guys that well. I would have had to make something up.
Well, man, you did a good job, and it worked out all in your favor. Are you going to do more late model races after how you performed tonight? I think that might be a good idea. Yeah, did you enjoy yourself, I should ask?
Honestly, yeah. It was pretty fun. Way more fun than I was expecting this car to be. So we'll probably definitely do some more late model races. I know I have another race coming up here in the same car like a week from now. So we'll hopefully go out there and repeat the performance tonight.
Well, man, we do have a late model series that's going to be starting up in Slingshot Racing League here in a week or so. That's just 10 races. I know they would love to see you likely in that. So check out the information on that. You are in the Discord. So before we let you go celebrate that win, man, I'm really dumbfounded that this was only one of your first few starts in this car, and very impressed. I know you had some family rooting you on in the chat. They were very active tonight. You got any shout outs for those folks or other fans watching at home before we let you go celebrate the win?
Yeah, I'd like to shout out you guys for broadcasting. Like I said, it's nice to meet you all again, and nice to meet all the drivers and race with them tonight. I don't think I know like anybody in this field, so it's cool to see everybody. And all my friends and family for rooting me on each and every week. And also have my personal sponsor, Living Dead Girl. I like to shout out them. They make pretty good music on YouTube, so check them out if you have the chance.
Awesome. Well, we'll go check him out. Jaden Hopp, winner tonight. Go celebrate the win, my friend. We'll talk to you later.
I will. Thank you very much.
All right. You heard from the top three finishers. It was a rough and tumble kind of night here, fighting the Gators in the swamp in Lakeland. Let's go ahead and take a look at the rest of the finishing order as they stacked up tonight after these 200 laps or so. We get that graphic up on the screen. Jaden Hopp, Leclerc, Brown, those were your top three. Devin Jack, great finish for driver 49. He was up there most of the night. Jacob Phillips kind of started a little bit further back, but worked his way up to the front. Started 21st, one of the biggest movers of the evening. Matt Dickerson had his handful of kind of on-track battles, but finishes 6th at the end of the night. Lewis Flowers, I think that's, Chris, kind of the car that I thought really might have something for Jaden Hopp, but got caught up in some late race trouble and ends up having to settle for a 7th position. Shout out to Randy Gross, as they call the Bubble City Bullet out of Champaign. He's going to be drinking some champagne tonight with that 8th place finish. Ben Coltis in the 13 car. I know he had some fans watching tonight at home. He did them proud with a top 10 finish in 9th. And then Carson Sherman, what could have been for that 09 car, Chris, one of the fastest cars in the field, just found himself involved in a couple incidents, in some cases not of his own making, has to settle for 10th tonight.
Yeah, all kinds of speedy drivers right there in the top 10. I want to give another shout out also to Randy Gross. He made a very generous contribution here tonight to this race right here. So yeah, I want to give him an extra shout out and just say just how nice I thought that was right there. And we'll look at the rest of the field right here. Brandon Willard. Brandon definitely ran a lot better than his 11th place finish right here shows. But yeah, he'll bring it home 11th. Haley Moody, Landon Brown's teammate, gonna finish in the 12th position. She ran much better than that for most of the night as well. Caleb Hunt gonna finish in 13th. Shout out to Steve Vest. Got in his heat race into the main show, into the feature here. Had a great result tonight, bringing it home in 14th. Brad T. Nelson gonna finish in 15th. Dylan Potts in the number 2 machine gonna finish in 16th. Tom Lickert, saw him spun around late in the race. He's gonna have to settle for 17th position. And these drivers right here that you're seeing right here are multiple laps down. Joshua Torsch, unfortunately for him, he had a difficult night, caught up in a lot of incidents. Chris French as well. And Kenneth Gallman gonna round out the top 20.
21st on the evening, Cliff Adams, fast early, but late race troubles for that 80 machine. Benjamin Gerhardt, also fast in the heats, had trouble early on in this Gator Classic. Richard Parks as well, crashed out from second. Another what could have been for maybe a potential flat tire early on in the goings. Angel Ortega, the biggest mover in the heats, early trouble as well, finishes 24th. And then Ryan Hinkle, the winner of the last chance qualifier, ends up finishing 25th. 176 laps down with early trouble, caught up in one of those first quarter of the race crashes. Chris, it was a great race. What did you enjoy most about what you saw out there tonight for these 200 laps?
Ellis, I love short track racing, and I love everything that's on the line right here for these drivers. I love the great cause that this was for tonight. Different stories. Getting a chance to watch the battles for the transfer spots in the heat. That was super entertaining. Getting to watch Ryan Hinkle, after the trouble that he had in the heat, battle back and qualify, earn his way in the LCQ. And then from there, I know that we had one driver dominate the whole race, but man, the action was just intense all over the track tonight. We saw all kinds of green flag racing in the middle part, and then we got the rash of cautions that we knew that we would have right there towards the end. And Ellis, I don't think that the racing, I don't think we could ask for much more than what we saw tonight here in the Gator Classic. I want to give a special shout out. I know you're going to get more into this here in just a second, for Nathan Gentry, for helping organize this right here. This is his race. This is, his idea right here, and give a special shout out to him right here for all the hard work that he did putting this all together. I would say it's definitely a resounding success.
Yeah, this definitely took a village of folks in Slingshot Racing League to put together tonight. Super proud of the effort that everyone was able to make. Super proud of all the drivers who turned up tonight. And at the end of the night, this was all for a good cause, for the Animal Welfare League of Charlotte, a local animal welfare shelter in Charlotte, North Carolina. We raised over $300 for those kitties and puppies tonight in Charlotte. And whether or not you're able to give to them or maybe a local animal shelter, we encourage everyone watching, even just a tiny amount might help feed a little kitty or a little puppy in need. So make sure if you haven't done your good deed for the week or the new year, not that you shouldn't do one every day, but you can get it out early by making a small donation to your local animal shelter and letting them know that you care. And Chris, I just echo everything you said. Phenomenal night of racing. These guys guys and girls put on an awesome show tonight in the Gator Classic. 3 drivers going to be taking home that Gatorhead trophy. If you're watching, whether you're watching live or watching the replay, brings up a good point. We're going to see more short track late model racing for the next 2.5 months, because we're getting ready to set sail on a late model stock league coming up here for Slingshot Racing League. The late model tour kicks off in a little over a week on the January 12th at the Nashville Fairgrounds. In fact, we're going to have a little exhibition race this coming Monday from Darlington, but great little schedule here. Most of these drivers are in the Discord, but if not, you can reach out to us for more information on our social media. or just go to slingshotracing.org, send us a message about how you get into this late model league on iRacing. Those races start at 9 p.m. East. Chris, what do you like best about that schedule? You're looking at one of those tracks as the best one out there?
Man, there's all kinds of good options right there. If I had to say one that really, first off, Darlington, that's going to be very entertaining in these cars. I can't wait for that. I would say the one that I'm probably looking forward to the most right here, maybe New Smyrna or Five Flags. Probably Five Flags is going to be my choice right there. That's an iconic short track right there. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing these guys hit Five Flags Speedway down there in Pensacola coming up here February 23rd.
Yep, home of the Snowball Derby. That's going to be a great season. As mentioned earlier, we've got racing going on all week long. This week, we're going to have also broadcast starting for the Grand National Series for Slingshot Racing. You can see the schedule appearing on the board there. Lots of racing going to be coming up on Wednesday night. So we're going to have Monday nights. We're going to have Wednesday nights. We've got Thursday nights going on as well with the NSRLA Downtown Auto Sales Series that has been going on for 9 weeks now. We've got just about 7 races left this season. Milwaukee's kicking off this week, this Thursday night. So we do racing every multiple nights a week, folks. So if you enjoyed this, make sure you tune in to other races. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, make sure you hit that subscribe button ASAP so you can get all that content at a moment's notice when we go live, and hang out in the chat where we do all sorts of giveaways as well. I think we've covered all our bases tonight, Chris. Did we get everything?
I think that we did.
All right, well, with that being said, it's been a fun night. It's been a late night going on 11 o'clock on the East Coast here, but we got all 200 laps of the Gator Classic, the 3rd annual Gator Classic in for Slingshot Racing League. For Slingshot TV, I'm Ellis Thomas, joined by Chris Smith and Johnny Rapp in the Slingshot TV booth. Folks, enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll talk to you next time on the track.